It's the World Series of Sim Racing here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
Oh, contact!
And some contact holds on for now. It's Vincent Zora. Colley's going to be able to hold on. 3 wide, 2 wide. Ryan Bird trying to be the hero. He'll door smack once again in the center of the corner. Figure out how to get out of the way. Vinny breaks him! He breaks him across the line! The 15 wins! One last chance, one last opportunity. He's digging, he's climbing, he's right on the bumper. Blocking going to be made. Will there be contact? Here comes Thompson. Check on the outside. We're going to be blocked, defended. Brian Johnson hoping and will win. Here comes Vincent Sword to the inside, but it's not enough. Brian Johnson wins, and it's going to be the 13 trying his best. He'll hold on, or will he cross the line? It's Cedric Hunter by a nose.
The power of a knock. Protecting our most vulnerable, extending a vital lifeline, and fighting hunger, malnutrition, and isolation for over 2 million seniors each year. Every knock, every chop, every smile delivers hope, builds community, and even saves lives. The power is in your hands. The power of a knock. Give today. Meals on Wheels.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. We're proud to be giving you the coverage of the WSSR Cup Series. Tonight, the drivers get to test their skills for race number 6 of the season as they head to the 2.5-mile beast, and usually known for a season starter. But for tonight, it will be the middle of the season disaster for some, victory for others, and tonight is a memorable one for others, as it is the Meals on Wheels 250 here at Daytona, a special event for a lot of these drivers on trying to have a Meals on Wheels type of a race for themselves, as we will speak more about Meals on Wheels later on here tonight. But for this race, it's a crucial one, our second super speedway type track of the season, and for some drivers, they need to change their regular season now, as this will be race number 6. We are marking the halfway of the regular season, and this is your time to really get yourself out of the hole and maybe have a chance to fight for the playoffs. But we're proud to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth, like always now for the rest of the season, we have Justin Malarkey. Justin, happy to have you up in the booth with us here tonight. Daytona, this should be a special one for these drivers.
Oh, Daytona will be fun. A lot of drafting side by side. Going to be a blast tonight to watch these drivers get out there and be on the teams. We get back to that where we talked Atlanta, all those drivers being out there with all the different teams we have. It'll be really interesting seeing these guys doing different pit stops, tire strategy, and getting back to that teamwork type of racing.
Yeah, the team aspect. I know I've heard a lot of drivers talking about how this race, teamwork's going to be so important. A lot of teams have talked about how they want to be the control team, being up front and having a special win here this evening. And talk about special as well, the fact that tonight is the Meals on Wheels 250. Some of these drivers also having a special night due to schemes here tonight, running a lot of patriotic schemes, as it was the theme of this evening for the field of running a patriotic scheme. So you're going to be seeing a lot of red, white, and blue out there on track. And Justin, it's always fun to have themed races, and skinned to see the painters bring out some of their best skills on these type of races.
Especially, and the paints look so good on these cars. If we've talked, they just have so much more room for the sponsors with the numbers being moved forward. The paint schemes will be looking extra special tonight. We'll definitely be bringing that to the viewers' attention throughout the night. As you see some cars right here already on pit road having some problems, maybe doing some practice burnouts, trying to get ready to get that victory lane later. As you see Aaron Smith looping it around.
Yeah, having some fun. I know a lot of these drivers. Aaron Smith, the second, having some fun. He's been out there since the start of practice about an hour ago. And a lot of the other drivers are also recognizing, hey, they've been here for most of practice. For the last couple of minutes, they're going to have some fun doing some burnouts and prepping for potentially what could be a winning race here tonight. I know the Lucky Ducks machines, they're going to be favorites here tonight. I know Sky Motorsports also looking to be top dogs to try to control the race here this evening. But to be the top drivers, to be the lead drivers, and have a lot of control, first means you got to have the track position first. As the field finishing up practice, we're about to head into qualifying. And Justin, it used to be track position, not the biggest thing of worry, but really feels like Daytona of all super speedway tracks, really track position can be a key factor here at this course.
A very valid point. This track's nowhere near as wide as Atlanta, nowhere near as wide as Talladega, where you see drivers easily run 3 wide. Here, 3 wide gets a little sketchy. I think you'll hear it in our voices definitely tonight when drivers get 3 wide. We'll be a little more anxious than normal just because there's not much room. I mean, that tri-oval, you kind of get a little sideways in there pretty easily with the not as much banking as the corners, and it just creates a little chaotic moments.
It certainly can be some chaotic moments. I know other drivers, due to the fact that it's the month of June, also trying out different schemes, as Joshua Kanata sporting out the rainbow colors of all the different June festivities for himself as a 16, taking it high, building up the speed and momentum. And this is also something that drivers have been picking up on. I would say last year, Daytona was all about the first lap, but with the new updates that iRacing's been doing with the next-gen car, been a transition. It feels like the first lap used to be the dominant lap that you were focusing on. Now it goes back to the old ways of real-life racing where you're building up the speed, Justin, for both for the warm-up lap and that first lap, for that money lap on your second and last lap here to qualify for.
That would definitely have to be the testament to iRacing, just doing what they need to do to try and make this simulator as realistic as possible. And you've always seen drivers want to go out there and waste that first lap, build up the RPMs in the motor, and try and get his max speed out. And iRacing's doing a great job at making that more realistic, which makes it fun for these drivers. They see what they see on TV and they try to reenact it and get it to work. And I think the big thing will be is we know drivers have 5 gears, but I think qualifying, most of them going to be only in 4th gear, I would think, Sam.
Yeah, 4th gear is traditionally the gear that you want to get into and build up the speed. Some drivers like to go up into 5th if they feel like that can help maybe not scrub off as much speed through the corners, but it's all about finding smooth as the first laps are clocking in. And you saw Joshua Kanata drop down through the tri-oval to get to that yellow line where drivers are now going to be painting and trying to put down their fastest lap so far. First driver to have that fast lap for themselves was Ollie Fonseca. Now moves over to Shane Wyatt with a 49.5 second lap time. I think drivers are going to be aiming for the low 49 second window. See how much of a jump some of these drivers, as half the field has already put down 1 lap, the other half, maybe start in the back. That is another decision you can make, is to keep your nose out of trouble. And some drivers may be focusing more about how they can make it to the end of the race instead of stage racing. As across the line, Trent Jump, of the drivers that put down their second lap, was the fastest. Joshua Kanata takes the top spot for the 16. It's a 29.517 for the 16 of Joshua Kanata. As we wait for more numbers to clock their way in, but Shane Wyatt and Ollie Fonseca, they do not go up and take the front row. They actually fall down to 4th and 5th after being our first lap wonders.
Well, I have to say, I learned something from watching the 16 of Mr. Kanata there, going below the apron down to the tri-oval. I'm not sure I've really seen that too much. Gonna see if anyone else does that. Do you think maybe he gained a little bit of time taking that shortcut, going down there below the yellow line, going onto the tri-oval?
I mean, going down on the apron, if you can find a smooth transition, as now top driver going to be Brian Rocky Johnson in the 28 machine. Also, a new driver top of the board. Going to be Andrew Medlin in the 12, who's needing a solid race here tonight. The three-time champ of Larry Yingling going to be topping the board. But with going on the apron, there is a slight advantage. Gives them about a couple of thousandths of a second for some. If they can really figure out their points, they might be able to gain maybe a chance of building up a hundredth of a second. It's not a lot. That little bit can help you enough, as right now the difference between first and second is 200ths of a second.
Hey, I'll take a little bit of time. Anytime you can get it, a tenth here, tenth there, millisecond there, it all adds up, especially when you look at the chart. You see a couple drivers there, 12th and 13th, running a 49.531, same exact speed pretty much right there. I mean, that's just, you're talking milliseconds for qualifying, but very important. It's easy to pass here, but also hard at the same time. You're not going to be able to really just pull out and make the passes, so you do want to have that track position.
Yeah, track position is going to be important. I think when trying to make passes, it's a lot of you figuring out which conveyor belt is the top line, bottom line, is moving more efficiently. And if there's an opening, you try to take that spot. It's now moving up to second. It's going to be Douglas Newbigging coming up just a little shy, as he'll move 2 thousandths of a second faster than Andrew Medlin, as everyone is right on top of each other. But qualifying's coming to conclusion, and Justin Forbes not able to get his second lap in. He will fall to 35th place. But qualifying now going to be done and concluded. That will be your practice qualifying, and we now enter into our warm-up period, where drivers have 5 minutes to put down their fastest laps of practice, the last little bit of practice they can get in before we head into our featured race, 100 laps here tonight. And this also gives us a little bit of time to take a look at the point standings, as well take a look at the schedule. We'll first take a look at the point standings entering tonight, after seeing Gavin Rogers go back-to-back the last 2 weeks. He is now trying to catch up to Vincent Sora, but notified us at his interview last week will be missing here tonight. So Gavin Rogers expected next week at Daytona Road Course, but it's going to drop the 75 down a little bit. But everyone else looking for chances to take moves forward in their points position. And you'll look at the drivers that are inside of our top 16. They've been very consistent so far, but there are still a lot of fast drivers that are even just outside of our top 16. I mean, Justin, this is when the competition gets to this close, this competitive, there's always drivers that could win a championship that are still looking outside of that top 16.
There really is. Just look at the drivers on the right side of the screen. Plenty of speed there. All those drivers want to do is make it to the left side tonight. They want to get out of here at Daytona, and they know this is a track where it doesn't matter if there's one turn to go. We see accidents happen coming out of turn 3 and 4, and you could be running in the top 5, and you could go home 35th position easily, and then your night's ruined, especially if you don't get those stage points, which we'll be talking about all night throughout this race.
Stage racing is going to be very critical and important. As we move away from our point standings, we get to take a closer look of how this season's been going so far. 5 races are in the books. We got to see Cedric Hunter winning at Atlanta, hoping to find a little bit of the same luck here tonight at Daytona. And then it's been 2 back-to-back winners. Got to see Vincent Sora with his first 2 back-to-back wins at Legacy, Texas and Martinsville. Then these past 2 weeks at Long Beach and Michigan, it's been Gavin Rogers who have found their way into victory lane. And tonight could be the start of a new driver trying to go for back-to-back here tonight, and then heading to Daytona Road Course. But certainly, like I noted on before, this is at the halfway of the regular season. Justin, the criticalness of having a good race here tonight, if you've been, outside of the top 30 in points, or just inside of our top 30, you still have a chance, but it starts tonight to make that rebound.
It really does. With it being Daytona, I think every driver out there has a feeling inside that they can go out there, get this done. They can get the win at Daytona. It's a neutralizer type track where there's a lot of, the drafting. The draft just keeps everyone together, so handling is not so much going to come into play. It's going to be about playing your cards the right way, really having your strategy down. But you get that win tonight, then you feel a little bit better for the rest of the season. You think you're going to have a good chance to be in there, staying inside the top 16 in the points, and look forward to racing in the playoffs, which is the ultimate idea for everyone else out there.
As we are also in our final 2 minutes of warm-up, this is our time to have our pick'ems. Who do we feel like are drivers to either watch out for or have a chance to win here tonight? I think every driver has a chance to win here this evening. It's about positioning yourself with a chance to win. And we'll take a look at my pick first. on who I feel like is the main driver to look out for, and I'm going to go with Nick Crawford. Reason why, I've seen Nick in past super speedway races. He usually tries to slot himself in a position to get a win. Sometimes you need some luck. See if 74 can get it done here tonight. Still looking for that super speedway win is Nick Crawford, but I think he might be a driver to watch out for. Now we'll move over to Justin. Who do you feel like could be a driver to watch out for here tonight?
Okay, I'm going with when my first race at Daytona, Danny Cochran. I remember you were out there leading a bunch of laps. Thought you were going to definitely be the driver to be watching on these restrictor plate tracks, and I think it's going to happen again tonight.
And we also have our producer here tonight, and for all nights on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, Robert Moyer Jr. Who is Robert going for? He's going to be picking Zach Hall. Not a bad pick at all. Zach Hall won this race only back in season 2. It was his first ever WSSR win. You'd love to see that history march back up for himself. Well, those are our 3 pick'ems for tonight's race. We're excited for this evening's coverage again of the Meals on Wheels 250 here at Daytona, race number 6 of the season. I want to say thank you to Meals on Wheels for being the sponsor of tonight's race. Meals on Wheels is Meals on Wheels America is the leading organization, supports more than 500 communities based programs across the country. It is a huge helping for families that are looking to get meals for themselves. Again, we'll talk more about them, but also want to say thank you to Lucky Ducks Motorsports, who's been heavily promoting Meals on Wheels. They're doing a fundraiser for Meals on Wheels from June 25th to July 9th. The link to their Tiltify fundraiser can be found in the description down below. Thank you so much. Again, if you'd like to go donate for Meals on Wheels, head to the description. But for us, it's time to prepare for 100 laps here tonight at Daytona. We do have a stage break at the end of lap 20. We'll take a look at our starting grid of how these drivers prepare for tonight's race. This evening, we've got a total of 38 drivers expected to take the green. We'll see how many of them can leave even pit road to start tonight's race. But top spot, give it to the 67 of Larry Yingling, 3-time champ, hoping to get the win that could lock him in to the playoffs. Douglas Newbegin, when we come to these ovals, he's usually strong at them. The 7 will start in second. Andrew Medlin, right around that buffer zone of the top 16 in points. 12 looking for a solid run here this evening. Nick Crawford will start in 4th. Going to be my pick to watch out for. Tom Bourne in the 06 Sky Motorsports. They were very strong at the beginning of the Atlanta race. He'll start in 5th position. Edward Sherwood Jr. will start in 6th place. 7th, we find Zach Hall, Robert Moyer's pick. Brian P. Johnson will start in 8th place with Joshua Canada at 9th. And we find the 46, Trent Jump, finishing out your top 10.
Rolling off in 11th, going to be the 58 machine of Carl Pooler, Shane Therian, P12. P13, Brian McCann and Shane Wyatt in 14th position. Tyler Dengler in 15th, and Ollie Fonseca in 16th position. Matt Moore in 17th, and Drew Jua in P18. 19th, going to be Ryan Kelly and Vincent Sora on rounding out the row 20.
In 21st, we find the 70 machine of Aaron Smith II. In 22nd place, we find the 15 of Ken Campbell. Also going to be Justin's pick, starting all the way back in 23rd. It's the 2 of Danny Cochran. Richard Wilsifer will start all the way back in 24th place for the 56 machine with Christopher Norris. Kind of a shocking qualifying run for the 38 machine. He'll be deep in the field. Dakota Moniz, a strong plate racer. He'll be starting in 26th position. Matthew Rodriguez looking for some good luck. He has had some terrible luck for the start of the season. The 01 wanting to get on the right foot moving forward. Cody Reed, a winner at Talladega. He knows how to get done in the WSSR here in Super Speedway Racing. And he finished up front here at Daytona. He'll start all the way down in 28th position. 29th is Cedric Hunter. And finished out our top 30 is the 97 of Mike Tellier.
Rolling off 31st, Tom Senchek and Ben Kinney, 33rd. 34th, Brad Delph. 35th, Justin Forbes. Ryan Ferraro, 36th, Chris Stetson, 37th, and the last driver on the field, Bronson Stafford, 38th. But I tell you what, there's no reason why he can't drive to the front. This will be a great place for him, nowhere but forward.
Certainly should be a good one to watch out for. Again, 38 drivers expected to take the green here tonight. A few drivers opting to start in the back. That's going to be Bronson Stafford, Carl Cooler, Ben Keeney, and Tom Sinchek. Going to be sent to the back for themselves. And these races here this evening certainly going to be impactful ones. 4 of the drivers that are being sent to the back all had a variety of different penalties after Michigan. For Brad Delph, going to be having to start in pit road with a 30-second hold as well for himself. Then Thompson Jack having a driver incident, not able to hold a brake. He was given an end-of-the-line penalty to start tonight's race. ARCA brake penalties for Carl Pooler and Bronson Stafford. That's why those 4 drivers will be having to start in the back with their issues. But 20 laps is going to be our first stage. Justin, 20 laps here at Daytona. It can go in a blink of an eye. And with 38 drivers going to be out on track, you need to start moving if you're starting further on back.
Yeah, if you're starting further on back and you get an early caution, you got to start thinking, are you going to go in, get some of that fuel, so maybe you could do a shorter stop later. We're not thinking tires are going to be the most important thing. I would think all drivers will definitely change them under the caution, but then, I don't know. I don't know if people will be taking any, maybe just 2. I don't think people are going to want to sit there and take all 4, but I don't know. By the time you fill that fuel up, maybe they're going to get 2 or 4. It's definitely going to be all different kinds of strategy, but if you're starting in the back, you got to start running this race in reverse, trying to figure out how exactly you can get to that front.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of thinking points after the stage is over. First stage again, going to be our first 20 laps. Top 10 drivers get bonus points. A lot of drivers want to make sure they're up front for that run. Majority of the drivers will be starting on the outside, but up front, it's Larry Yingling in the 67, Douglas Newbegin in the 7. Your Meals on Wheels 250 is underway as race number 6 has our front row roaring down into turn number 1.
And they're still just 2 by 2. We'll be seeing this a lot all night. You can see that going up through the gearboxes. You see some of the backfire coming through the 7 there, getting through the gears. But right now, these drivers are probably just trying to get through these first 20 laps. They're going to stay 2 by 2. No one really out front yet, taking a chance going down the straightaway. But look at that, Sam. Maybe 3 wide in the back straightaway.
Thinking about going 3 wide for a quick moment, but also drivers have to be slightly concerned. Again, the front bumper issues of drivers bumping into one another and the front end's kind of exploding at times is an issue that's still there, but Nick Crawford pushing the 7 far enough ahead that the 74 will drop down, trying to lead lap number 1, but Lucky Ducks is in line on the outside. The strength is there as they pull away. Lap 1 led by Douglas Newbegin. They're 3 wide though, dealing with some trouble back in 12th place. Drivers are really getting on top of one another, and they finally get things sorted out in 2 by 2. But the driver on the move, no surprise, it's going to be Drew Jua, the most aggressive driver on the track at all times. He's the one making big moves now.
Oh, making big moves. And right now, I was a little surprised with, I guess, that restart. Drivers kind of got a little more spread out than I was thinking. I was anticipating a little more 2 by 2, but some of them were able to go 3 wide down that back straightaway and make some moves. I mean, we saw the 74 drive to the lead in front of Larry Yingling. And it looked like the 12 got down on the apron the lap before that too, and that was a little scary moment. But right now, that 9 machine, he was poking his nose up there in the middle of turns 3 and 4, thinking about maybe going to the outside.
Going to be further in the back. Christopher Wade, Cedric Connor, multiple drivers scattering across. No yellow flag. Will stay. No, the yellow will be thrown. Trouble strikes in the back half of the pack, racing for last, and these drivers are throwing away their races.
Wow, lap 3, they have to be furious right now. I mean, lap 3 of a 100-lap race at Daytona, everyone knows you got to be at the end. I mean, especially with this new damage model, we're going to see what kind of damage these guys are going to be sustaining. But it starts right back here, coming out of turn 4, I believe.
And it's just going to be drivers trying to make some big moves on top of one another, and it's just small little bumps. Also coming off the exit of the corner, and it's just bizarre. The absolute ricochet some of these guys are having on. Again, they're racing back for last. You need to be making some big moves. We're racing from Christopher Wade's point of view off the exit of the corner. Was there a bump, or was it just simply breaking loose?
I think a car gets up into the wall first. See right outside the screen there, and then he comes down. And I think when that 4 machine came down, it kind of made that 53 get scared, and he turned to the left, it looked like. And they're just spinning.
There's nowhere to go, and once again, it's Hula Monkeys of Matthew Rodriguez and Mike Tallier. Early trouble strike those 2. They just cannot get away from trouble for themselves. They've been a magnet. Christopher Wade frustrated with that incident. I mean, you're not expecting drivers to get into the wall, especially here very early in this race. But obviously troubles for Justin Forbes. Did not feel comfortable at the exit of turn 4. And that's going to bring out our first yellow. And now it makes things a little bit more intense from here on out. the big moves are going to be even more massive. The amping up of trying to get inside the top 10, if you're close to cracking the top 10, it's just going to mount up to a level that we honestly could be seeing another caution here, because I don't know if this yellow is going to calm anyone down.
You would hope these drivers are able to calm down and get some laps in here, because you want to start getting into your strategy mindset. But you don't know. Daytona, so many cars on top of one another and motions carrying over. I don't know how that will work out with an early caution. Sometimes you don't get those nerves out yet, but I thought some people would maybe come in and top off, but I guess no one's really on that strategy yet.
Well, again, 20 laps is going to be the stage, so there's no reason for you to come into pit road. They're going to be good on fuel, so these drivers know they are good until this stage. I think at the stage we expect everyone to make that stop. As here comes a couple of drivers into pit road. I think a couple of these drivers involved with that incident, it's repairs for the majority of them.
Yeah, definitely get those repairs. I was just thinking maybe that might save them like 2-3 gallons of gas maybe later on, and they can maybe gain a couple positions back on that pit stop at lap 20. It's just one of those things when you're starting out back, you got to try something different, right? If you're not leading a race, you got to figure out how to get to that front.
And it looks like it might be a full team orders to drop out, except for one, as majority of Sky Motorsports and Hula Monkeys going to drop to the back to get service done. Here's your weather entering tonight's race. First 5 laps, and it is a great, beautiful day out at Daytona. 79 degrees Fahrenheit in sim, with the track temp being at 82 Fahrenheit. A little bit of a gust of wind that's climbing into the double digits. But the big thing in note, humidity, it's pretty high. It's set over 70%. Means these drivers are dealing with that, maybe a little bit of engine durability dropping on the maximum amount of speed. But with the nighttime conditions, it's just going to cool off and get a little bit nicer. We'll see the lights fully click on halfway through this race. And just in a cooler track here at Daytona means bigger moves we might be able to see.
Oh, bigger moves, bigger speed. Like you said, though, with the temperature, I mean, pushing. You don't want to risk blowing those engines up. As the track cools down maybe throughout the night, that'll help a little bit. Maybe these guys will be able to push a little bit longer before they get into that danger zone, but something they definitely want to always keep an eye on, making sure they keep that engine nice and cool, because you do not want to blow an engine here.
Absolutely not. As the field is waiting to be given the 1 to go indicator, that's when the pace car lights click off. It is Douglas Newbigin, Edward Shore Jr., your front 2, with Brian P. Johnson, Nick Crawford, Larry Ealing, your top 5. A couple of big movers here early on. Biggest mover right now, Cody Reed. The 25 machine is up 16 positions from where he started. And also other big movers because of pit stops. Up 11 positions is Justin Forbes and Ryan Ferraro, both up 11 spots. But I gotta say, Justin, in just 3 laps, Cody Reed being up 16 positions, that is incredible movement by the 25 machine.
He's definitely an aggressive restrictor plate racer. I remember last year at Atlanta, he was one of those drivers that seemed to every lap want to go down below the apron on the front straightaway and try and make a move and make drivers at least think he's going to make a move. So he's definitely aggressive. He didn't have the qualifying effort he wanted, but he's definitely got that race pace down. Going to be someone that's definitely going to be probably up here trying to contend to lead some laps, and you would expect to be there at the end trying to make moves.
As the field gets ready to take off. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for joining with us here tonight on your Wednesday night for the WSSR Cup Series. This is race number 6, the Meals on Wheels 250. We will have more racing action the next couple of weeks, as we will be seeing these drivers try to tackle racing at Daytona Road Course. Excited to see that racing coverage, but it will not be next week. Next week they will actually be taking the week off because of it being the 3rd of July, when it'll allow people that are going to be on vacation to take a vacation, and we will be back on July 10th for Daytona Road Course action. I think the field's ready for road course racing, because that will be a doubleheader night. They will actually be running 2 Daytona Road Course races, a 20-lap run, and they'll invert the whole entire field, and we'll have a 10-lap sprint, so you could win for some bonus points. So in 2 weeks on the 10th, don't want to miss it, will be our next race for the WSSR Cup Series. Field stacked 2x2, exiting out of 4. It's time for us to go back to Green Flag Racing. It's going to be the teammates of Lucky Ducks, Douglas Newbigin, Edward Sherwood Jr., your front row as they enter the restart zone. We are back to green flag action for the Meals on Wheels 250. They get in line on the outside, and it's go time, Justin, into turn number 1.
Well, it's go time. The number 7 machine, he's going on that outside line, has a great restart, but look at that. Nick Crawford fighting back on the inside, but will he have the help down straightaway? Don't see anyone right behind him yet. He's on board here. You're going to hear him coming out of the corner, starting to grab those gears and just down his back straightaway. He's going to be trying to hope to have someone push him. As you can see the car, when it gets that little wiggle, that's probably when someone's behind him, just latching onto that rear bumper.
Two massive bumps being made, both by Edward Sherwood Jr. and then the double hit being made by Trenton Jump. But trouble for drivers further on back. It's going to be Joshua Kanata, also Ryan Ferraro having troubles for themselves off the exit of turn 2. Other drivers are very upset with the issues that popped up with the field.
Wow, that's not ideal for those guys. I mean, they got to get going because you don't want to risk losing a lap here. They're not going to be in the draft, so there's still enough laps left. Let's look at this. We got one through the infield already.
That's the replay. That's the replay of the incident that just happened, and drivers were giving bad bumps on the straightaways. Ryan Ferraro, Joshua Kanata getting the worst of it as they continue on. We now go back to live coverage, and they are on their lonesome trying to get together. And now going to be seeing the drivers going back to the lead pack because it's Nick Crawford and also going to be Brian P. Johnson working together on the inside as they muscle their way through the inside groove. And you can see multiple lanes, different grooves. They can make both lanes work for themselves as the 74 going to be leading a lap for himself.
This track is racy. These drivers are racy tonight. These cars are racy. I mean, they're putting it on. Look at this in the middle of the pack. They're 3 wide, and it's
trouble. And it's going to be Christopher Norris and many of others. The middle of the field, the big one, strikes on the entry of turn 1. They're still piling in. Oh, no. I believe that was Shane Wyatt who went for a ride on his side. They just could not whoa up, and that is going to be over 15 drivers caught up in that mess.
Chris Norris, no front bumper on the 38 machine right there. It's lap 8. I mean, we're going to see the replay here shortly, but why? Sam, why? You just have to ask yourself why.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers already given required damage flags for themselves. And oh no, was that a netcode incident? They were trying to go 3 wide and it just went wrong. In the second pack, I think they made more damage in the second pack of people trying to slow down to not get involved, and other drivers just did not hit the brakes to help themselves.
Wow, I mean, see right here, I think it's going to be, coming right through here. This would be the second pack, it looks like, Sam.
And we're going to be seeing how the second pack, there's the wreck. It's already happened. And then the second group, they're trying to slow down, but other drivers not able to. And hey, some people try to be heroes, muscle their way through. Others don't want to just hit the brakes, and they're just running each other over. Unfortunate circumstances. And again, over 15 drivers involved in this incident, and are only just a lap 10. We have our second wreck, and it's the big one.
And that's the key point, only being lap 10. I mean, and the way the damage model is on these cars now, these drivers probably have a lot more damage than what they would have gotten in the past. And there's just going to be a lot of guys out of this race. We're going to have a smaller field here, probably.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. We're trying to, sorry, folks, we were trying to find the right angle. Here is another look at it. And again, Christopher Norris netcodes into Tom Bourne as the blimp view showed the netcode, and it got the drivers wrecked. And from there on out, everyone starts scattering in.
Yeah, we wind it right here. Looks like we get another view from that blimp mode like you were talking about. It just, maybe even like the 38 came up a little bit in there. It's just being 3 wide right in that moment.
3 wide.
See, it looks like
Drew Jua giving a bump. Tom Bourne, and it looks like there was going to be contact and moving up. It just was 2 separate incidences that forced drivers together, and the big one strikes in the middle of the field. But I think the worst thing, again, this group is wrecking. This is bound to happen when you have cars scattering. It's the arc breaking of drivers just piling in. That is the nasty part of this wreck that is now decided to call it a night for those that were involved. The 27 of Shane Wyatt, Ben Kinney, also going to be involved in ending his night. Still getting damage repair is Brian McCann, Ryan Kelly, and Tom Bourne. It's the field getting damage repairs for themselves from 20th all the way down to 38th position. They are getting damage repair done. That is 18 drivers that at least came in to get damage repair done. There could have been even more slightly involved that just decided we're just going to stay out.
I tell you what, Sam, that first incident right after the green flag, when those drivers are going through the back stretch grass there, they're probably happy right now because they weren't close enough to be involved in this accident. They didn't really get any damage. They kind of just went through the grass and got their cars going. But they were able to avoid that accident, so it was maybe a blessing in disguise for them, which seems to happen so often at tracks like this.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that type of a wreck, we are going to have some fun in the boxing ring for some of these drivers in their Discord Octagon area where drivers can dispute their feelings of this race. But tonight's action, we are only 11 laps in. We have officially now gotten halfway through the stage, 2 cautions in the books, and just bad bumps, bad contacts, big moves costed over half the field to have some type of damage already so far here tonight. And with how aerodynamically important these vehicles are, it might have already cost so many drivers a chance to win here tonight, unless there's a big one. As Nick Crawford, Brian Johnson going to be your front 2. Going to be also seeing Douglas Newbegin, Larry Yingling, Edward Schubert Jr., your top 5. 6 is Andrew Medlin, who is getting ready for this restart. And for Andrew Medlin, just saw a lot of his teammates get involved in that wreck. The 12 machine here tonight, hoping to keep his nose out of trouble and get a good finish. Right now, he'll be starting on the outside, 3rd car on the outside for himself.
Well, and he'll have 8 laps to try and get to the lead to get those valuable stage points, which we're going to really start talking about it now with so many accidents. And if this race is going to be as chaotic as we're seeing that it is so far, it's really important to try and get those stage points right now, because you don't know if you're going to get to the end of the race with the way these guys are wrecking consistently and how aggressive the field has been in these opening 12 laps.
I mean, I talked about it. That first wreck really shortened the distance on drivers that were going to be able to make some big moves. They had to force it 3 wide because drivers were going 3 wide. It gave an opportunity of the big one. And with how important stage points can be to be in the playoffs or out, need every point possible. Again, only the top 10 drivers get stage points. You win the stage, you get 10 bonus points. Second gets 9. Third gets 8. It continues to dwindle down until you get down to 10th place, where they only get 1 bonus point. Everyone else gets 0 at that point of going to the conclusion of the stage, which is at the end of lap 20. We are getting ready for this restart. Again, thank you for joining with us. I know a bizarre start to this race. I know maybe some fan favorites caught up in that one. Who are you rooting for here tonight as we get to see how the drivers are preparing for this restart? It is all about go, go, go. Get up front, get inside of the top 20. You got top 10, you get those bonus points for yourself. But up front, we'll see how the 74, 28 are going to be working with one another, as it's Lucky Ducks waiting behind Nick Crawford. We're green once again, and Crawford looks to be staying low. It's going to be now moving high. Doesn't want Douglas Newbegin to have any friends, as the 7 has no one to work with. It's still seeing some incredible passes and moves. Cody Reed, our biggest mover of the day so far, he is cracked inside of the top 10 and trying his best to move forward on the outside, and he is flying in the 25.
He's got the car figured out tonight. I mean, he's making every move on these restarts. He's been getting the restarts as we have a lap car there to the inside. Luckily, below the other line won't be a problem. Looks like that was Drew Dua, but wow, look how this field really got spread out on these restarts. It seems like each time tonight they get really spread out, and then they kind of get back together and they get those big runs, and that's when we've seen the incidents happen.
And you got to put in the focus on the fact that a lot of drivers caught up in that wreck. Some drivers might be underpowered. A majority of the drivers that were caught up in that wreck had over a minute of repairs. That's some huge damage you're dealing with, and big moves as well, as the first group of drivers are in line. And oh no, Danny Cochran, big bump slid up, and oh, huge wreck, bad bump. We stay green. Second pack trying to drive by, and oh my goodness, once again, bad bump. More drivers in the grass. That's going to be Joshua Kanata. Behind him is also going to be Matt Meir and plenty of others, with just a huge calamity. Everyone slows down. We stay green, and still 6 laps to go in the stage. How many more wrecks are we going to see here tonight? Because, Justin, this is insane what these bad bumps drivers are giving.
The 16 just out there in the grass the second time tonight. I mean, It's just crazy right there. I mean, that was just bad luck on his end, and wrong place, wrong time for the second time, gets forced down into the grass. You've got to feel for him. It just being in the wrong spot. These drivers are just making such aggressive moves. I mean, it seems like they're racing like there's 2 laps to go, and they have to understand there's still over 80 laps to go in this race of racing. You got to get to the end to be able to survive. I mean, look how this field is thinned out. You got about 7 drivers right now in the front pack, and then there's multiple small packs throughout the rest of the field.
And drivers that were caught up in that wreck that have required damage, Danny Cochran, Dakota Moniz, and going to be the main drivers of damage. Up front, though, our top 7 are in this lead pack and just trying to pull away from the rest of the field. Brian Johnson has lost the draft for himself, and then 9th and 10th place is going to be Douglas Newbigin and Edward Sherwood Jr. The rest of the field from 11th on back are scattered 8 seconds back from the leader, and they are still just trying to get up to speed. This race went from so much promise of the amount of drivers are going to be in this race challenging for a win to we might be down to just 10 drivable drivers at the end of this stage.
It's actually kind of chaotic. You wouldn't expect it this early in the race. I feel like sometimes these Daytona races open and they're so calm and quiet, and tonight we just got the opposite. I mean, the viewers, they got a taste of action. I'm expecting this race is going to calm down a little bit. I mean, we do have the caution coming out in 4 laps, so these drivers can get bunched back up. But like you said, just so many drivers have damaged, and these cars have slowed down so much that there's not that many drivers that have good, clean cars left.
Top 7 drivers are racing to see who's going to get the stage win. Then we've got a grouping of 3. That's going to be 8th, 9th, and 10th place. So Douglas Newbigin, Edward Sherwood Jr., and Brian B. Johnson. They're trying to stay ahead of 12th place, where Vince Sora, Thompson, Jack, also 11th place of Christopher Wade, find themselves riding, as Christopher Wade, who was just kind of a wreck, he has a chance. If he can get up to speed, they could catch up to 8th, 9th, and 10th and steal some stage bonus points as our front Pete lead group stay in line. Going a little bit aside to the outside of Zach Paul, but what a shocker of a start here this evening as we are seeing these laps tick away. Now 3 laps to go left in the stage, and it's all Nick Crawford leading the charge with Trenton Jump, old rivals back in the ISRC truck days before Trenton Jump moved away from the truck series. Now get to see these drivers race it out in the Cup car. Also, Ali Fonseca, Cody Reed, they used to be involved with the ISRC battles, but Zach Hall willing to duck and dive and get behind his teammate from Snowy Desert Racing. You got teammates now in line on the inside.
What a move for Zach from the outside to the inside. I mean, that was like a true elevator drop. What a move. These drivers, they're so aggressive, but really try and focus, as a viewer, what you want to focus on is the pushing. They're right on these bumpers, and it's just gets these cars a little sideways, and they're being so aggressive on it. You see right there, the 32 right underneath the 74, and they're able to make it work. But so far, not everyone in this field has been able to make it work, and that's why we've had so many incidents.
It has just been trouble all around as the field is just trying their best to make it to the end of this stage. A lap and a half to go on who will be our stage winner. Ali Fonseca, a driver who is known to be also have some good finishes in the ISRC Truck Series here at this track. He's over for a good run. Trenton Jump now going to do the drop from the outside. Larry Ainley will follow in suit, and it's just going to be Ali Fonseca and Andrew Menlin on the outside groove trying to hold steady. They're starting to close up on a little bit of lap traffic ahead of them. See if this group can survive as they're on the last lap of the stage, and they're starting to close in on the likes of Matthew Rodriguez, who will stay on the outside. Matt Rod having a rough one for the 01 machine, as the rest of the field trying to utilize some, trying to use the draft of the 01. They get in line, and here comes the big move for the end of the stage win. Zach Hall bounces the outside. Huge block from Trenton Jump. They're willing to wreck. Jump gets pushed, tapped. They're going to go 3 wide for the lead for the stage. They're 3 by 3, battling for the lead, battling for 4th. Who would have thought that they would continue to fight like this? 7 drivers in the lead pack, and they're still giving us great racing action. Cody Reed, who's been the driver on the move all night long, wants to get the stage win. Taps Trenton Trenton Jump. They're racing like it's the last lap. They come across the line. Cody Reed leads that lap, but they're waiting for the yellow flag, which is when 10th place crosses the line. Finally does, and Jump will officially be ahead, but Cody gave us a show. They're laid off before.
Oh, he did give us a show, and the 46 put on a heck of a show coming through that tri-oval. Did you see how close Larry Yingling got to the 46? I mean, 46 right now has got to be thanking Larry Yingling for lifting, because, oh man, that could have been trouble right there. It just seemed like the 46 pulled down at the last second, and Larry Yingling just had a little bit of run right there on him. But luckily these guys kept it clean. But wow, they raced so hard for those stage points. It shows how valuable those points are. But I would be so nervous about getting involved in an accident, not getting any more points for the rest of this race.
Wait for the drivers across the line, and then that should give us our official top 5. But here's how the points should be divvied out. Trenton Jump going to be taking that win at the end for the stage. Zach Hall second. Cody Reed, what a move for himself there late, will finish third at the stage. Larry Yingling fourth. Nick Crawford fifth. Sixth is Ollie Fonseca. Andrew Medlin seventh. Eighth is Douglas Newbigin. Brian Johnson going to get ninth. And Edward Sherwood Jr. 10th place. So they were not able to get caught for 11th on back. And I think that could be a good sign of, there are a few drivers still with decent speed. I think we might be down to just 15 drivers that are at drivable pace to stay up front. As here is your top 5 in that Armadillos team of going to be the 46 Trenton Jump, Zach Hall, Snowy Desert Racing, Cod Monsters Motorsports, driver Cody Reed third, Larry Yingling and Ying Yang, and then also Snowy Desert Racing driver of Nick Crawford in 5th place. Justin, that was some fun. That was a wild end of the stage, and I'm surprised that they were willing to go that crazy for some stage bonus points. But I know for some drivers, the team aspect, also team points, are a thing that some of these drivers are racing for. That's why they were racing so aggressively there late.
38 drivers, and they probably all have 38 different agendas tonight going into this race, but I wasn't expecting it to be that chaotic. But I am expecting right now for these drivers to come in, get some tires, definitely get some fuel, and do their strategy. But like you mentioned, so many cars with injured cars, so many drivers with injured cars out there. We really saw some of those guys that were lapped down. I mean, they were like 45 miles an hour slower than some of these leaders. So you got to keep your car clean if you want a chance to win this race.
Damage is going to be a critical thing to watch out for here tonight. Who will have a survivable vehicle at this evening, as Trenton Jump sadly is not in our Discord, so we're not able to talk to our stage winner. But there is one driver I do want to get his thoughts on. That's Cody Reed. We'll see if we can queue up that 25 once they are done with their pit stops. Field is taking off. Some decided to go with fuel only. That's going to be the in-game driver of Larry Yingling. But racing off is Trenton Jump with a great run, and Tyler Daimler also fuel only pit stop for the 19. He'll move up to 2nd place. Cody Reed will fall all the way down to 6th position. Let's see if we can queue up that 25, because he had a wild run there late. Cody, it is Sam and Justin up in the booth. Didn't win the stage, but man, you were putting on a show for us there. Are you there, Cody?
Yeah, I am pretty sure I won the stage, though. It got me first across the line, so I when the caution came out, I was third, but at the line I was first, so I think I'm the stage winner.
We're waiting to see what they're going to give out on that. I know it's kind of finicky sometimes, but man,
okay.
You were flying there, going through the field. You're the one driver willing to make the big moves. Where is this confidence coming from to find yourself fighting up front and willing to beat and bang, even with just on lap 20?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of winging it. I'm having fun out here. You know, a lot of these people are making these moves, and I don't think they're like super confident in them. And they're, causing these big wrecks. But we had some preseason races and stuff. We raced here at Daytona. I was kind of doing it the same way. People were getting super annoyed by it. But I never caused any wrecks. Still haven't caused any wrecks today. But this is how I love driving these next gens at super speedways, like super aggressively. I don't know. I just feel really good about this race. That was some really fun racing. I was having a blast. Like, that was probably the most fun super speed racing I've ever had on iRacing. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm having so much fun.
Cody, well, you're doing a great job putting a show on. The car looks great out there. We're expecting to see you up front here. It seems like you have one of the cars to definitely beat. You have the talent behind the wheel, clearly. What are you going to do for the rest of the race on strategy-wise? Just make sure you keep track position? Does that mean that you're going to probably be taking not as many tires all the time? You just want to stay up there the whole night?
don't know. I mean, I'll just see how it goes, how the cautions fall and everything. I think I'll be taking tires after some longer runs, unless we go green for a really, really long time. Yeah, we'll just see how the cautions fall. I'm not too concerned about track position. I mean, I went from 28th to 13th in one lap on the lap one. So I think if you're aggressive and confident enough, track position doesn't really matter, especially with these cars, how fast you could generate a run if you kind of know what you're doing. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think I'll be taking a lot of tires on these cautions and stuff, just to keep control of my car a little bit better.
Well, Cody, it's been a blast to watch you running out there here tonight. Good luck. Congratulations on the run that you had there for the first 20 laps. And hopefully we'll be talking to you in victory lane.
Yeah, thank you.
As we send him back to his team at COD Monster Motorsports, Cody Reed gets ready for this restart. Your front two going to be Larry Yangling, who went with a 2-tire stop for the 67 and fuel. The rest of the field going to go with 4 tires and fuel. Tyler Dangler, who did go with the off strategy of just topping off, trying to gain as many positions and lead a lap, didn't work out for the 19, but he did at least give us a fun race off of pit road. He'll be starting all back in 24th. Up front, it's Yingling, Jump, Hall, Crawford, Reed, your top 5. Pace car pulls off, and your Meals on Wheels 250, is underway. What a wild first 20 laps. How much crazier can it get? As now we race to see who's going to be winning here tonight for race number 6. Yingling's got the jump. Jump drops the second. And here we go, Justin, into turn number 1.
They're getting single file down on that inside line, so we're going to find out really shortly if these drivers are going to fan out again on the back straightaway. Is the 46 going to make a move come out of this corner? It looks like he was ducking around, but not going to stay right there. No one's pulling out of line yet. And they're a little bit calmer on this restart. I don't see any 3 wide yet back there, Sam.
Not yet, but there are a few drivers making some bold moves all the way back in the round 24th position, willing to slot their way into spots to maybe gain a position here or there, or at least get into the order of the conveyor belt that's expected to the inside. But starting to mount that outside row, it's starting to build up, find some more movement. Momentum is shifting, and we're going to be seeing Larry Yingling making it work so far. Outside row is going to be led by Ollie Fonseca. He's got Matt Muir right behind him in that 72 machine, trying to find some momentum. Excuse me, that's actually going to be the 71 of Edward Sherwood Jr., then Matt Muir. And they're trying to make this outside row work, and they're slowly building up momentum. They're finding the speed, and they'll be trying to battle for the lead off of turn 4.
You can just see that, the 24 machine, Ollie Fonseca there on that outside line, just getting down the straightaway when he's getting hit from behind from the 71. It just kind of makes that car twitch a little bit. If you got an eye focus on that, you can really understand when these drivers are getting pushed from behind and how hard it is to keep those cars straight on the back straightaway when they're getting pushed like that. You'd think it would be easy, just hold the wheel straight, but it is very challenging. But I tell you what, the 71 did a great job because it pushed the 24 right to the outside of Larry Yingling, and he's actually going to be now the new leader of this race.
Ollie Fonseca was battling for the lead there at the end of the stage, but with everyone resetting, we're starting to see some drivers back in the mix. Surprisingly, we're outside rows, got a lot of drivers that have been caught up in earlier wrecks that are now back in the fight. They also going to be seeing the 16 of Joshua Kanata. He cracks into the top 10. Also Ken Campbell, who was caught up in a wreck earlier, and Cedric Hunter. Everyone's making their point to prove, hey, I was caught up in the wreck, but I'm not out of this race just yet. 27 laps in. The battle is side by side for the lead position. It's Larry Yingling, Ollie Fonseca, and this race, I think it's back on, Justin. It's not over, as the front pack is all still in line. 28 drivers on the lead lap, and all still connected as one.
They're still in line, and now you're starting to see a little bit more traditional Daytona, where I feel like the cars are 2x2, but they're closer to one another, so you're not getting those massive runs. I feel like in the beginning of the race, drivers, it didn't seem like they were really connected as closely, and then you were getting someone to get a huge run, and that's when we were seeing some incidents with the closing rates. But right now they're coming up on a lap car on the outside. I think that's the 77 again. He's definitely off the pace, but they do a great job getting around him. Yeah,
Drew Jua, 50 miles per hour slower than what the pack is running right now. It's kind of a hazard at the moment. I think if you're Drew, the safest place to be would probably run the apron if you're that slow, but he stays on track. And with him staying to the outside, it kind of shuffle drivers to make some big moves to the inside, outside, try to shuffle their way all around as they cling back all together. Kind of opening, maybe to drop low. I think that's where the momentum is going to be placed, but riding on board with Trent and Jump. Jump is just lingering behind Yingling and going to give a little bit of a tap here in these bumps. You talked about it, Justin, on how they can really get that front driver squirrely. And it's all about where you bump the driver, also how hard you hit them. The multiple different factors on how this lead driver could react if you give him a bump.
Yeah, the bump definitely gets the speed going. As some drivers try to maybe drag the brake and try and stay right on top of that bumper, but never actually hit it, as maybe like the 71's trying to do right now, just stay connected. But sometimes when you get that big bump, that's what makes these drivers really get a little squirrely going down the straightaways. And the worst thing is if you're in the trial zone and try and get on that bumper, and that's when you really have an issue where drivers might get really loose. But it's all about that bumping. The better you can do it and push, you're going to get out there and clear drivers. He's right on board here right now. Matt Mirror, the number 72, he's right there behind the 71 who's pushing Ollie Fonseca, and he's not right up on the 71. He's letting the 71 do his job. That's the other thing, Sam. 3 guys pushing, that's when it could be really a problem.
Yeah, I think for the longest time, the rule 1 of super speedway racing was never push the pusher. It's always between the front 2 drivers. You can get as close as you can, but do not touch the second car in line. But with this next gen and the way that it's kind of evolved, it's turned into sometimes you do have to push the pusher if you want your lane to get moving. And the top 3, the lead 3 drivers are the most crucial now, not just the lead 2. As on top of you need to make sure your cars are clean, there's no damage hurting you. It's a lot of factors, but if you can give clean bumps to one another, you're gonna be the lane that's moving forward. As I think the thing that's making me excited is the fact that we are seeing variety. We're seeing the outside lane be quick, the inside lane be quick. It's not just one lane being the dominant place to be here tonight.
Oh, definitely. That's what sometimes you see a lane get a little bit better. Like you've seen in the past, sometimes that outside lane you can protect, and the inside lane maybe couldn't ever get the run, and then it seemed like it flipped. But tonight you're seeing it doesn't matter. We saw guys go 3 wide and make moves and make passes, and especially when there was gaps in between cars, they were able to get the runs down the straightaway and slide down in to the lane. Right now I'm just looking down at that 13. You can see the damage there on the right side of the car, and he's still able to stay right behind the 32 as that call, and that draft is neutralizing that damage on the side of the car. The draft keeps all the wind from hitting that, and he's not getting slowed down at all.
Well, with everyone being so jammed up with one another and seeing them side by side, let's try something new here tonight. I think we're going to try to see if we can get ourselves with a crank it up here tonight under the lights for the Freaky Fast Broadcasting, giving you the coverage of the WSSR Cup Series. It's been a pleasure to show you all this racing action. Crank it up. Let's hear those engines roar here at Daytona. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, after that crank it up with the WSSR Cup Series as they exit out of turn number 4. Your leader right now is the 24 of Vale Fonseca as he is sending his way across the line, giving us 36 laps so far here tonight. The first stage, the first 20 laps felt like a headache at moments as most of the field caught up in either one or multiple wrecks, but so far they've settled down, found their rhythm, and this is a crucial point of the race where you try to slot yourself in a position to set up for maybe what potentially could be the final pit stop of the night if we stay green. I want to say thank you for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. My name is Sam Dyer. With me up in the booth is Justin Malarkey. And Justin, this race, those first 20 laps again, very rough, but we're back to traditional Daytona racing. I think everyone can finally take a deep breath and say, whoo, we're finally here.
Yeah, I feel like now I'm definitely starting to think that too. This seems a little more traditional 2x2 but as we say that we do have another lap car coming up there into the front of the field. These drivers will have to navigate around it, and they're gonna see it right there on the top of the screen. It's just gonna be a little bit slower. They're gonna go into the second and third lanes to get around this lap car, but always challenging when you see lap cars out there. You don't know where they're gonna go with the slower speed that they're driving just because of that injured car, but doing a great job getting around that 06.
Yeah, and for the leaders, they've been dealing with a lot of sensation of, the lap cars have been staying high, so they've been running and getting used to where they need to hit their marks and seeing Tom Horn stay low, which lap cars have the ability to run a lane. That is their choice to make on if they're going to stay high or low or on the apron. Those are your usual spots to be. But through the travel going 3 wide, that's not a comfortable position for anybody, and somehow they squeak on by. But again, when the field has to change their positionings to get or navigate around a lap car, especially when they stay on the inside, that's probably the most dangerous way to get around a lap car. But luckily, the field got around Tom Horn there.
I think most of the field out there is like, I like when you're below the yellow line on the back straightaway. That's the ideal spot to catch any car that's wounded. But unfortunately, it can't always happen, can't always work out that way. These drivers are all out there trying to get every point they can. As you know, we talked about it at the top of the race tonight, the top 16 feeling a little bit better than the people that are not in the top 16. So what do? At the end of the year, you go back and say, thankfully I went out there and did all those laps damaged at Daytona and got a couple positions at the end of the race, because you never know when that position is going to matter.
Yeah, and some of the drivers have already called it a night. Dakota Moniz in the 5 machine, Ben Keeney in the 98 machine, and Shane Wyatt in the 27 have all parked it and have left the server. We are down to just a total of 28 drivers on the lead lap of 38 that started this race. First driver 1 lap down is the 6 of Brad Delph, 1 lap down for himself, but in a concerned spot that he could be going 2 laps down here in the next 20 laps if we stay green. As the field continues to rage on, we also want to say thank you to our sponsors that have been helping out here for the WSSR Cup Series, that being Trophy Smack, as Matt Muir, wanting to be the lead driver on the inside, makes a good move for himself, as he was the 3rd driver on the outside. But I want to say thank you to Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack has been a major sponsor for the WSSR the last couple of seasons. They've been also the trophy provider since season 4. Yeah, first off, it was championship rings that were given out to Vincent Sora and Larry Gingley. In the last 2 seasons, it's been actual custom trophies that Benjamin Nelson took away. But with Benjamin Nelson gone, who will take the season 9 championship trophy? Completely customizable for the drivers out. And if you like a customizable trophy, you can go grab your own championship belt, ring, also trophy, and wall smack at trophysmack.com. Using the promo code WSSR Smack, you can grab 10% off on your purchase. Thank you so much to Trophy Smack as we continue to race on lap 40. Now has been completed on lap 41, 60 laps to go, still plenty of racing. And the bizarre moment, we've finally seen it, Justin. They're moving to that high groove.
Yeah, right under when you started talking, that 72 Nat player, he went down low to try to lead that lap. And then it seemed like that inside line just started slowly dying out. And look at that, maybe back to 7th position now is the inside line, stuck on down there on the bottom. So something to start watching. Is this going to be one of those races where the cars kind of get to the outside, they migrate like you see in racing and on NASCAR? But as I say that inside line starting to come back, and they're like, no, we're going to prove everyone wrong up there in the broadcast booth.
proving us wrong, and proving us wrong with authority, because it's the 15 that's leading the charge. That's Ken Campbell. He was involved in the big one, got some damage for himself, and the 15, even with the damaged vehicle, got the repairs done. He's being the lead driver, being muscled and pushed by Ollie Fonseca, Larry Yingling, and Zach Hall. They were able to move up to at least 4th position, but it's where they stalled out. There was just no more momentum to work with, and the outside lane is just too strong on the outside and getting this massive runs on the straightaway.
Yeah, it's like they had that little bit of room going where drivers started going down to the inside, and then it stalled out again. And that outside line's just being really strong right now. I mean, it's going to be something that inside line, how could they figure out what to do? I mean, right now, when you're on that outside line, you want to pull down. You see all that track. You're like, oh, I'm in 4th position. I could drive right there to the lead, but you don't have anyone to go with you. That's where the teammates are really going to come in later on in this race.
I think also that we could count on the fact that what hurt this field was when they had to move high to avoid a lap car. They have to do it again with Danny Cochran staying low and trouble high though. Driver breaking loose. It looks to be Justin Forbes. Christopher Norris getting into a scrap, and it's the 4 who ultimately finds himself with the biggest trouble. But we stay green even with the collision.
We stayed green. Looked like maybe 1 or 2 cars there got together, and there was definitely a front bumper torn off. I think that was the Forbes machine missing that front bumper, but yeah, we're gonna get here the replay right here, Sam.
And you're gonna be seeing Justin Forbes trying to stay low in the 4 machine, and just, I think a lot of people were clamoring with the lap car, bad bumps all around, and it's Matthew Rodriguez once again being a magnet, gets into the 4 of Forbes, huge contact, and that is loss of momentum and speed for at least 4 drivers, and Forbes back to pit road.
Not what he wants to see, especially with no cautioner. I mean, he's not going to be able to really get that damage fixed, and he's going to lose a couple laps before he does get it fixed. But back up front, Trenton Jump, Ed Shearer Jr., Douglas Newbig, and they still are working that outside line, but now Ken Campbell is up to the 4th position on the inside line, trying to make that momentum come back alive on the inside. Will the inside line be able to prove us wrong again?
Trying to do so, and Ken Campbell trying to prove that even if I was wounded, I might be having some scars, might have some scratches, but at least I'm still in the fight, as the 15 will be side by side for 2nd position, now side by side for the lead. And Ken Campbell, after all the woes that he's dealt with the last couple of weeks, finally is seeing a major positive, as Campbell flirts for the lead side by side, trying to continue with the momentum, but the outside groove, Edward Sherwood Jr. does not want to relinquish that lead position, but there's just too much of a gap. Ollie Fonseca's too strong, and Campbell to the point on the inside. The 15 looking to lead this lap, and it will do so. Ken Campbell finally able to lead, and what a positive moment to take away for the 15 machine after being involved with our 2nd wreck of the night, and the true big one so far.
And Ken Campbell, all the things he's overcome this season, he had to overcome me picking him last week to win. The old broadcast jinx up there. I picked the driver, and they seemed like they get caught up in the accident. Sorry to Danny Cochran tonight. Was really hoping that he would be up there battling for this, but unfortunately he got caught up in the damage. But I wonder if that machine of the Cody Reed is going to hop up there in front of the 46 at Trenton Jump. Not able to do it that time, but I wonder if he's going to do it if he has a chance later on. We know he's been aggressive, and that's actually the 32 right there of Zach Hall. I thought that was Cody Reed. Cody Reed actually running back in 20th position.
Yeah, Cody Reed was involved with that Justin Forbes incident, kind of lost a bunch of space, and now is being held by Tom Horn and Andrew Medlin to stay in 20th and 21st position. Up front, Trenton Jump still leads that outside groove. And for Trenton Jump, I mean, we usually pick our drivers on who we think our drivers will watch out for before the race, before qualifying, during the practice. And Trenton Jump was a driver in mind. But the only reason I didn't pick him is because he doesn't have teamwork. He doesn't have teammates. And proven just as I speak about it, Lucky Ducks dump the 46. They take the point on the inside.
It's never fun when you don't have the teammate out there because you just don't know if they're committed to you. But there's times I like not having a teammate because you don't have to make the moves just to save them. So you can just go out there and do your race, and then maybe that's what Trenton Jump wants to do all night. Just keep pushing to the front, and drivers will find him. If they know he's fast, they're going to find him because they know if he's leading this race, they want to be right there with him because they know he's a fast driver. So hopefully he'll find someone out there to work with him as this night goes on. He's got about 51 laps to figure that out.
I mean, the lucky thing for Trent Jump is that he's raced with, about 3/4 of the field in other leagues. So they know what they can find with the 46 in speed and also consistency, as Brian P. Johnson, Season 1 champ, multiple winner of Daytona, trying to find himself into victory lane once again. Brian Johnson, winner of the Daytona race. Now, last season, they were in the Gen 4 car racing at the Daytona 08 configuration, but Brian won that race. It was the beginning of the season, and then he also won the season opener for Season 6, one of the last times that they raced in this next-gen car. And he's hoping to find a good run, but lap car's going to stay low. Late move to the middle and outside lane for Lucky Ducks. Rest of the field, luckily, he's going to have enough space to get by. Justin Forbes tries to hug the yellow line as they'll go 3 wide past the lap car, and every time they do, it's a hold-your-breath moment.
Look at the 71 and the 7, how far out they got. Ken Campbell's going to have a huge run on him, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything because to the outside of him is Trenton Jump, and Trenton Jump's getting a huge push. They're going to maybe potentially get to the lead here, but next time they get to the straightaway, this Trenton Jump, Brian P. Johnson, huge run on that outside lane. They're going to definitely clear it at Shearer Jr., and they're going to have a great chance to lead this lap and maybe set the race back there on the outside line and see if that line's going to start prevailing again.
Trying to make big runs all around. One driver, though, making a shocking pit stop. That's going to be the 70 machine, of Aaron Smith II, as well as a few lap cars as well, being the 8 machine of Brian McCann, all entering pit road at the halfway marker of this race. Pit stops going to be also another talking point. I believe I heard some drivers say that they were thinking about pushing their fuel to turn this stint from the stage to the end of this race into a one-stop. Felt pretty comfortable that they could do that. That's around a 40-lap run that they have to do, so they still have about another... Oh, no, trouble! The engine exploded! The glitch I talked about, it happened! Oh, no! Absolute disaster as an engine just implodes in front of the field, and another big one strikes.
Wow, but did we stay green, I believe, Sam?
No, yellow flag's out.
Oh, yellow, okay, I didn't see it come out, but wow.
Trying to figure out the driver that had the implosion.
Looked like the gold machine, that black and...
Looking forward, I believe it was Tom Sinchek. It was a netcode wreck. He was following in line with going to be the 51 of Vincent Sora. Sora blinks, and netcode absolutely shunts the 26 back, and everyone else an innocent victim, and it's a netcode wreck that ruins the night of others.
Wow, that I have to say I never saw anything like that. So you're saying the blink, the car behind thought, and it just thought it was made massive contact, and
no, it made contact. It blinked. The internet, because of Vincent Sora's car, is going to disappear here, and you're going to see the 51. He will go away. When he disappears and then reappears, iRacing thinks his car is still in this original place. This camera view is not going to show it properly. The other view was going to show, this isn't going to show it really either, but you're going to see the 51 go away. We're trying to find a camera for ourselves, but you're going to see the 51 here. Entering the corner, disappears now. When he reappears, iRacing thinks that car is still right on the nose of the 26, but it's not. It's further ahead. And then the invisible hit box of the 51 shoots back, makes contact with Tom Sinchek, and it just pushes him backwards into the rest of the field.
I have never, ever experienced anything like that. That's just so scary. I've seen cars blink before in front of me, and I've never seen it where the system thinks that that's just wow. I
move over to the 26, and we'll get to see the violence of this incident. As again, the 51 disappears here, and now we're there we go. I think we're on him now. And then you see there, that's the invisible hitbox. It just pushes the 26 back, and that is a netcode hit. That is something that you just cannot see coming. And utter destruction, required damage for Bronson Stafford, Ollie Fonseca, and an unfortunate thing of someone's internet iRacing system crashing, and then it just implodes and causes other drivers to get involved in the wreck.
Wow. and it took out a lot of cars. I mean, right at the halfway point too. I mean, we really were starting to settle in. We actually started talking about the pit stops, and this changes a lot of stuff, Stan, because now they're not in that window to make it on one stop. I don't think 48 laps to go, they're going to be pitting here, and I don't think they're going to be able to make it on one stop. So now you're going to have to decide what to do.
Yeah, and this also leaves us in a spot where now we've got only about 12 drivers of our original 38 that have not been involved in a wreck. It is shocking to look at of the timing of these wrecks, the people that have been involved. And with us at the halfway marker, this race is now being shooken up, and there might be having to be a late green flag stop that could change up this race. But for us up at the booth, we're going to step away. We're going to take our first commercial break of the night as we're at the halfway zone. Bizarre wrecks. We've had some big ones. We've had some bad bumps, and now a netcode wreck as we are having our Meals on Wheels 250 race here at Daytona. Bizarre ones, but don't worry, you won't miss a thing. We'll be right back as we go side by side with this commercial break. It's the World Series of Sim Racing here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
Oh, contact!
It's some contact. Holds on for now. It's Vincent Sora. Colley's going to be able to hold on. 3 wide, 2 wide. Ryan Bird trying to be the hero. He'll door smack once again in the center of the corner. Figure out how to get out of the way. Vinny wrecks him. He wrecks him across the line. The 15 wins. One last chance. One last opportunity. He's digging. He's climbing. He's right on the bumper. Blocking going to be made. Will there be contact? Here comes Thompson. Check on the outside. We're going to be blocked, defended. Brian Johnson, Alpinen will win. Here comes Vincent Sword to the inside, but it's not enough. Brian Johnson wins, and it's going to be the 13th trying his best. He'll hold on, or will he cross the line? It's Cedric Hunter by a nose. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WSSR Cup Series as the field trying to recover after a iRacing blinkage wreck that just was bizarre to bring out our second big one of the night. We are back to more action here this evening as we're creeping into 40 laps to go. Again, thank you for joining with us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up the booth is Justin Malarkey, and running productions, as always, is Robert Moyer Jr. And Justin, this race has been a bizarre one, but it's so bizarre that drivers that were caught up in the initial big one back at lap number 9, they're in the fight. There is a lot of drivers that were caught up in earlier wrecks that are inside of our top 15.
They've had the time under caution to get all the damage fixed, and we talk about it. The new damage model definitely throws off more bumpers and creates a little bit more carnage, but if you didn't have a ton of damage and you were able to get it fixed, that draft could neutralize all that damage and you're able to stay up there in the front, and that's the most important. You got to be there at the end. We keep saying it. There's 42 laps to go still. You got to be there at the end to have a chance to finish good or win this race. You cannot be out of it.
And there are 5 drivers officially out of this race. If you still gain damage repairs, the 5 that have left the server is going to be Ryan Ferraro, Drew Jua, Dakota Moniz, Ben Keeney, and Shane Wyatt. Also joining them is going to be Bronson Stafford in the 61, who was sadly involved. Same with Ryan Ferraro with that Vincent Sora blink return hitbox delayed wreck. It was a bizarre incident that probably should not have happened, but it did. It took out a few drivers. Ali Fonseca also still on pit road dealing with those damages, and it's now given openings for some more drivers to fight to be up front, and one of them being Riley Johnson as well as Trenton Jump. They're seeing the fighting spirit of Matt Muir on the outside and Vincent Sora. Sora is still having slight blinks every once in a while, and you got to be worrisome if you're Matt Muir. How much am I trusting a driver that just accidentally took out his teammate?
He's right, but he's not worried right now, Sam. He's right there pushing him. He wants to push Vincent to the lead. I mean, you gotta, I guess, hope that it's fixed and everything's settled down. I don't really know how that works, if it's something that he could do on his end and maybe try and get the speed built back up in that internet. But right now he's got the speed on the outside of the line. That's all that matters for him.
As long as he stays out on track, I guess it's worth it. If your internet wipes out the field, you can just throw your hands and say, it wasn't actually me, as he tries to go into victory lane. Other drivers that are having some decent runs and recovery runs, I'm scared to say their names because they know that the commentator curse is there, but there's a couple of drivers out on track that are having better runs than they've had all season, and we hope for the best for those drivers, Justin. I know it's hard for us to say their names. We want to cheer them on, but the commentator's curse is too strong.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. I heard you mention his name once or twice earlier in this race, but he's doing really good. We won't talk about it. If something happens later, we'll mention it, but we don't want to jinx it right now because he's having a great run up there inside the top 10.
There's a few drivers that are inside the top 10 having a great run. There is one driver of note, though, that's 2 laps down, running in 26th position, but is driving around the drivers just outside of the top 10. That's the 4 of Justin Forbes, who was at one moment caught up in a big wreck that forced the 4 to be underpowered. I'm curious, Justin, on your thoughts. Being a lap car, on driving with the lead lap pack and being willing to be aggressive, being 2 laps down, not even the lucky dog driver, how hard is it just to sit and wait, or do you feel like you have to drive to be aggressive to try to earn that lap back the hard way?
Definitely earn it back the hard way, but if he could get up there and get that caution, if he could get 1 lap back the hard way, like you said, and then the way it was working right now, he could actually maybe potentially get both of his laps back, because maybe he would be the lucky dog if it worked out that way. So it could be really important. You don't know if it's going to happen that way, but at least getting 1 lap back gives you a chance, because you assume there's probably going to be maybe 1 or 2 more cautions at the end of this race, you would think. If not, then your race is not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to win the race, obviously, but he needs to get those laps back. That's obviously very important. You can't blame him for wanting to be up there in that pack, but maybe if he's not going to be able to drive to the front, just tag on to the end of the field and try and avoid any accidents.
Speaking about tagging on, you can see that yellow machine always in yellow in every scheme, every series he runs. In 23rd position, last driver on the lead lap, it's Aaron Smith II, tagging along with his teammates as well of Douglas Newbegin, Edward Sherwood Jr., drivers that have kept their nose out of trouble most of the night, have just been kind of lingering in the back ever since having those early, around lap 15, issues of other drivers having some big slides in front of the Lucky Ducks drivers. Lucky Ducks cruises in the back of the pack, and right now, this isn't a bad spot to be, I would say, Justin, with knowing there's a chance of at least one more pit stop to go here tonight.
I would have to agree with where he's running right now. I mean, he's with the field, so he should not lose the draft. The most important thing is he's saving fuel right now. I mean, you said 42 laps. They went back to 48. I mean, if he's back there running 90% throttle the whole time, can he make the extra laps? We did about 2 or 3 under caution, so really he's got to go maybe 45 and feel confident. Who knows? It might be something that we'll be talking about if he stays green.
Or will we see a wreck as we're seeing some drivers jostling back and forth between the 4 of Justin Forbes as well as the 6 of Brad Delph. Delph is currently the driver that's working the outside groove in the middle of the pack, still slicing and dicing back and forth at this current moment. But a lot of drivers are getting nervous, and one's getting over the radio being frustrated. That is going to be Matt Meir finally addressing the 51 of Vincent Sora about the blinking. There is a lot of nerves about this situation, but leading this race, we now have to say their name, Mike Tellier and Matthew Rodriguez. They lead the front rows of the outside. They once were leading the inside and the outside, but it's the 0197. They were a part of that first wreck of the race. Now up front leading this one.
All right, Mike, Matt, I did not say it. It was brought up by Sam, but that's who I wanted to talk about. So happy to see these two guys up there, know how their seasons have been this week. I think Mike was the first driver out last week at Michigan. I don't know if he made it a lap 1, but right now he's out there leading the lap, Sam. Doing a great job, showing tremendous speed, showing he could get it done. So happy for these two up there.
Extremely happy with the way they're running. I mean, at the start of the season, Matthew Rodriguez in a one machine was taken out by Ollie Fonseca when Ollie was having a terrible lap at Atlanta and ruined a decent night that the 01 was looking for. Mike Tellier, this is one of his better tracks, running at super speedways. The 97 is a super speedway racer, just like the specialists of their alliance team of Sky Motorsports, hoping for a decent run. And tonight, like I said, this is the race that could change your season. Maybe the first 5 races of the season didn't go well, but if you finish well here tonight, or even grab a win, get yourself in the top 25 in points, and you're locked into the playoffs.
Get yourself one of those feel-good races, get your confidence back, prove to yourself that you know you can do it. You just got to get to these finishes of the races, and sometimes that's the hardest part. And right now, these drivers coming up on 33 laps to go. They're doing what they need to do. They're running up front, and they're strong on that outside line. But the thing is, they're running up front right now, and they're probably burning a little bit more fuel than anyone else. So they're going to have a really good pit stop when it happens, and that's going to be the big thing is when do you make that pit stop?
That is the true question of when do you want to make that stop, because we are in the window of these drivers. They can get from here if they like the pit, but do you make this emergency stop or just stay in a good position where you're at right now as drivers over the radio discussing back and forth about the damage they're dealing with right now. Most of the field, again, there's only about 12, maybe 10 drivers that were not involved in any of the big wrecks that we had so far here tonight that are just trying to keep their nose clean. As we're right on board with Mike Tellier behind him, though, a lot of spacing. Drivers are willing to maybe set up for some big runs that are about to happen entering into turn 3 and off the exit of turn 4.
Oh, all these big runs here. You get a big run down these back straightaways, and that's what we talk about. That's when the bumpers slam, and right now they send it off into turns 3 and 4. But you see those gaps, Sam, right there. When you get that little bit of gap between the driver, and then all of a sudden on the back straightaway, they get that momentum, and they got to make a decision. Do I go 3 wide? Do I go inside, outside? Or do I just slam that car in front of me and hope that they can handle it? It looked like one guy decided to pit going into the, coming out of turn 4, looked like one field off there.
That's going to be Chris Stintz who peels off, and he was a driver who did not pit under our last yellow. He was forced to enter pit road and was looking for a yellow flag. It never came out. Instead, it was one of those drivers looking for the lucky dog spot as well. He'll take 4 tires and fuel for the 17. Right on board with Zach Hall, who continues to watch the gap in front of him build. I'm curious for the 70, for the 32, is this a strategy call of backing off this much? Because the field is running. I'm looking at the lap times. I mean, they're running some of their faster laps of the race, but also They're running about 2 seconds, almost a second and a half slower than their fastest lap. So I'm curious if the field's thinking about, let's just calm it down for a little bit. We have the draft pulling us along and just try to save as much fuel and wait for a caution.
Yeah, or do they think that maybe they're in that window where they can stretch it and run out coming to the end of the race at the end of the line and get there? I mean, if the field slowed down that much, you would think that they're maybe running a little bit off the throttle. Obviously, they're all going to be in 5th gear, says it right there. No one's going to be down there in 4th gear doing anything crazy. But right there, doesn't seem like I see any lifting on the RPMs, maybe just a blip of the throttle, but not seeing the massive drop-off right there.
Not a massive drop-off at all, but also we're not seeing it go full throttle, it looks like. They're kind of just keeping it at a consistent rate. Those RPMs aren't climbing dramatically. They're staying pretty stable. And that's either a sign of they're in a good spot in the draft, or they're just settling for now as we're on board with Tyler Dangler, another one of those drivers I was talking about of having a decent run for themselves with Mike Tellier and Matthew Rodriguez. They're just trying to get a good run and what could potentially be their season best run if they can finish up front. But with 30 laps to go, this race still wide open. 23 drivers on the lead lap, and we have drivers that were still not involved in any wrecks scattered within these 23 drivers in this front lead pack.
You see right there at the bottom of the screen, the 25 of Cody Reed before. Remember how quick he drove up through the field, and we talked to him under the yellow flag. He said, Sam, to us, he felt like he could drive up through the field when he needed to, and he has not since that restart. Maybe that's just because he wants to just save that car. Maybe he's saving fuel back there. Being further back in that draft, you're definitely able to run even less throttle, save more fuel. But we'll have to keep an eye on it. If he decides to make his moves, will he be able to come up through that field as fast as he did earlier in this race?
And usually when we're seeing drivers at full song, they're driving around 2 to 3 seconds. Most of the time, 3 seconds faster than a driver that's by themselves. And last lap was the 17 of Chris Stitz by himself. Ran a 49.9 second lap time. Mike Tellier, our leader, a 47.2. So they are close to what would be the right speed, but it just seems like we're running about a half a second slower than what we traditionally would see these drivers going at full song. Everyone just keeping calm, not putting a lot of pressure in, trying to put a lot of speed down. With each lap that passes, the question continues to loom: when would you think about making your stop here tonight? As they continue to watch this race push forward and the lap car go backwards. It's all side by side, plenty of space, plenty of, if someone wants to make a big move, they can. And this is bizarre to watch, Justin. I can't think of the last time I saw a Daytona race where there was just this much give all around the front pack of the field.
Especially when in the beginning of the race, it seemed like we had no give, but now these drivers all of a sudden, this is what I was thinking would happen in the beginning of the race. I thought they would be a little more spread out and just wanting to get to the stage and kind of relax, but it seemed to start out the opposite of what I was personally expecting. But what you talked about with Chris Stitz being about 2 seconds off instead of 3 seconds, I mean, I know eventually he might get lapped, but with the field running just slightly slower, and that's mainly right now. You see they're just not close to one another. They're not pushing like they were. They're not as aggressive. But if he's able to stay on the lead lap, Chris Stitz, and the caution does come out, I would imagine that these guys might go in to make sure they have enough fuel for the green-white checkered. It could put Chris Stitz in the lead if he's able to stay on the lead lap, because he should be good to go for fuel.
Well, sadly, that will not be the case because he has gone a lap down. He's at the tail end of this group and currently 2 laps down. At this moment is Chris Stitz. For only driver 1 lap down, Brad Delth for himself. Tom Bourne is the next driver lap down, but he's 2 laps down with Chris Stitz and with Justin Forbes as majority of the field dropped down the inside. I thought that was going to be the beginning of signs. A pit stop's about to be called with 26 laps to go. Not this call just yet to go to pit road, but a front 6, front 8, side-by-side racing. They want to be the lead drivers before maybe they make that sign to go to pit road.
Definitely a lot easier to be the leader and control the field. You see right there, another driver dropped down to the inside. That looks like that was the 97 machine. Are they going to be pitting this time by it? Maybe they just feel like they'd rather get this pit stop done with and be sure to go on, be ready to go for fuel at the end. But no, right now they're going to stay out.
Stay out, and they continue to fall. No signs have been reported over the radio of we're pitting this go around, and they were notified They do not have to announce to the field that you're pitting, but you can as a courteous call to make sure that you don't get ran over. Some drivers are making the call over the radio now, though. This is the time. Expect pit stops. They're gonna fan out. This is the show of green flag pit stops that we're about to see. This is one of the crazier things of super speedway racing, is when they see the field fan out and make decision to go into pit road.
Oh, yeah, luckily they're all down to the inside line, so we're not going to see anyone from that outside line try to make a dive bomb to the inside line. But right here, we'll see it looks like the 97 is going to peel off. Most important, do not speed, get it slowed down, don't spin out. He's coming in fast, but he's going to get it slowed down, I hope enough.
And it's going to be about 8 drivers entering pit road to get service done for themselves, majority being Hula Monkey and Sky Motorsports. No one's going to get caught speeding. These drivers going over 180 to 190 miles per hour, and to drop down to just 60 when entering pit road. And now gives the lead to Brian P. Johnson and the next group of drivers having to make the decision. Do you enter pit road this go around or the next? As drivers are getting in line. Also, do you just pit for tires, fuel? What are you aiming for with this pit stop?
You're aiming, well, don't make a mistake. But you got to maximize your time. ACC 28, Brian P. Johnson pulled right off.
Another group of drivers around 8 going to be going into pit road. That's going to be Nightmare Motorsports into pit road, and also seeing a few other drivers from Lucky Ducks following in suit. And now it's going to leave Ken Campbell, Andrew Medlin, Zach Hall, Nick Crawford, Larry Gingling, Joshua Canada, Cody Reed going to be out on track, but they are so scattered from one another. You only have a group of 5. Our top 5 are together. Then 6 back to 10 are in a cluster, but they're about a second off of that lead pack. This is that bizarre moment where if you don't all come in that second group, you can be so spaced out that it doesn't work out on your pit stop coming in as the third.
Oh, we're going to be right on board here. Look at this aggressive move to the outside. Will the 12 of Andrew Medlin be able to beat? Yeah, it looks like he actually gets into the pits ahead of Zach Hall, maybe, who was pitting there right there in front of him. Oh, no, Zach Hall stayed out. So was that, who was there right there in front of him? That's it. Andrew Medlin got around him. So
it was Larry Gingling, I believe, that he was pitting around. And they're going to be continuing their way forward in.
But only 2 of them, it looks like. I mean, so Sam, you talk about it. Only 2 guys right there is actually Larry Yingling's going to leave way before Andrew Medlin. They're not going to be together. This is the problem. Only 2 or 3 cars pitting. They don't really have the drafting partners. We'll see how this plays out for Andrew Medlin. But I mean, wow.
No. The problem with Medlin, he took tires. He took 2 tires on this stop. That's costly. No one else on the field has taken tires. And now going to be Zach Hall entering pit road, same for Nick Crawford. They're just a pair of 2. And it's just an odd mosh podge of drivers falling into pit road. Just a handful here, a handful there. But it's going to be the first group that decided to pit that is going to be the most collected together in driving as one. Is Trenton Jump, Shane Terry, and Mike Tellier, Matt Meir, Matthew Rodriguez, as well as Ryan P. Johnson, Vincent Sora, going to be part of the lead group that is feeling the strength right now with pitting early and able to have this spacing between the rest of the field.
Well, that's the most important. They got in the pits, they were clean, but they had a big group. The bigger the group, the faster they're going to be able to build their speed back up and not lose any time, as you're going to see a couple other guys peel off here. But again, only 2 cars, and that's the problem. That's the scary thing of doing just 2 or 3 cars. You don't have that big group to build your momentum back up, with drafting being so important. And you have to start wondering what the 5 drivers on screen, what are they going to be thinking right now with them running a little side-by-side. That's not ideal, Sam. That help kind of slows down that those cars out there when they're running side-by-side past that lap car.
Yeah, and that's going to be Justin Forbes again, talking about inexperienced driver. That's what the Ford is dealing with. Staying side by side, that side draft hurts that whole group as a whole. But the lead driver, going to be your leader right now, which is Joshua Kanata. And he might be feeling exactly what his shirt is, feeling like the dog with fire all around him. It's fine. It is all fine. But is it okay with the chaos that we've seen going around? Pit stops expected. But will this group of 4 come together, or will they decide to split off as a 2-2 pairing, one lap after another? As we continue to stay clean and green, 20 laps to go here tonight as we drop it down to just 19. And it's going to be Joshua Kanata still leading the charge, but Trenton Jump we're expecting to take the lead once this pit cycle fully completes.
And they got it, I think they were 30 seconds behind. They got it down to 27.5, and then it went to 27.4, now 27.1. So they're definitely making time up on these leaders. And you have to wonder, how long are these leaders going to stay out, giving up all this time? Or do they have something else in store? I mean, do they think they can make it to the end?
They were sitting in the back. You got to remember, Lucky Ducks as a group, that was Edward Schubert Jr., Douglas Newbigin. They were in the back of the pack, just sitting there and waiting, and they are running so off the pace. They're running 49.6 second lap times. That last lap, it was a 49.1. They are slowing down. They're trying to find the fuel and save it. Joshua Kanata staying out, trying to falter his way in the back of this line. Same for Cody Reed. They have to find a way to save fuel because Edward Shore Jr., Douglas Newbigin, they might have found the combination to save the fuel to the end of this race, while the rest of the field that's being led by Shane Tarian, they have to run him down. 26 seconds is the difference to the leader. Do they have enough time with 18 laps to go?
It's going to be really interesting. I mean, just from that whole lap of you talking it, you can see right here. I mean, these drivers are racing side by side, but they got it down to now 22.3. It shows on the live ticker right there with 18 to go. I mean, if they're gaining 1.5 seconds a lap, they're going to get to them. But then the question is, are they just right now saving fuel those front leaders, and then are they going to be able to pick it up for those final 5 laps and fend off this group? But man, this group's, they're coming behind them. I mean, it's down to 20.7 seconds. They're flying.
They are flying. The last lap for our leaders of Edward Schubert Jr. and Douglas Newbigin, 50.1 seconds was their last lap. For Shane Tarian, 46.2 seconds, almost going to be a 4-second difference per lap. They're going to catch them if they continue at this rate. The question is for Edward Schubert Jr., Douglas Newbigin, Cody Reed, Joshua Kanata. They needed this race to stay clean and green, and honestly, a lot of hurt from Justin Forbes, which, you know, it stinks the fact that he was side drafting and hurting this group as a whole, but he was only costing them 1 or 2 seconds. This group's going to be blasted by in most likely the next 5 to 6 laps, and that's plenty of time for everyone else. It's going to be around 10 laps to go, and then it will be the duel of fifth on back.
Yeah, it's at the rate right now that these front 5 are running, it's down to 16.7 seconds. They're just coming so fast. If they're saving the fuel right now, maybe they're going to say, you know what, if they get to 10 seconds, then we're going to go back to full throttle and try and hold them off. But I mean, right now, with them running the speed they're running to trying to save fuel, they're just saving too much right now.
It is a lot of time, a lot of fuel, but at some point, you know, they're going to flip the switch and try to gas it up and try to find a way to slow down this gap that is just continuing to be shrunk lap after lap. And it's still just a little bit faster that lap. It was 2 seconds faster than the last 2 laps. It was a 48.7 compared to crossing the line now, a 45.9. One of the fastest laps being placed is that second group trying to run down the picture of 5 drivers in front of us. With 15 laps to go, the gap currently is a little bit less than 14 seconds. If it's a second a lap, they will be there.
Well, there will be there. I mean, they have it under 14 now, 13.1, 12.9 now shows on the live ticker for the 5th place machine. The number 9 is Shane Tarian. Creighton jump right there in 6th. And they're working on them fast. I mean, if this front group's going to flip the switch, they got to do it shortly, because you don't want that second group to start sniffing your draft, because then they're really going to catch you.
Oh, absolutely not. And now that last lap for the front 5, it was the 49.0 second lap time. It was a 46.0 3-second difference that lap. Again, 14 laps to go. This group's going to be there with 10 laps to go. Then it turns into, for Edward Schubert Jr., Douglas Newbigin, Cody Reed, Joshua Kanata, how aggressively are you willing to block? You also continue to see the blinking of the 15. Vincent Sora's computer is about to explode with how much he's been blinking in and out. He's got to be panicking. He's already caused 1 issue with the blink in a netcode wreck. Got to be careful of having a second one, especially with this group trying to catch up. As Chris Stitz moves high, lead groups, this fifth on back group stays low, and they continue to race forward. And it's now down to 7.5 seconds. What a run we're seeing right now.
Yeah, they're going to be there. Like you said, 10 laps to go. They're going to be there. And then it's what do they do is that front group, they got to go full throttle. I mean, they made their bed. They can't just, these drivers will fly by them. They'll be back to 12th, 13th, 14th position without even putting up a fight. So they made their bed. They got to figure out what they're going to do. And who knows, they might turn it on, but it's already 5.1 seconds here as we talk.
Yeah, it's going to be not even to 10 laps to go. They're going to be there before that. It is just flying. And each lap, they get closer and closer. They also start to sniff a little bit more of that draft of the lead group. They look like a speck of dust in front right now, just crossing that lead line. But it's going to be Shane Terrian trying to close the gap to Justin Canada, to Joshua Canada, Cody Reed, Douglas Newbig, and Edward Schubert Jr. And this second pack already starting to play the Jaws music. They're catching up, and they know it's going to happen here very quickly.
But you can just visually see right here. I mean, they're probably going to get them by the next back time they're on the back straightaway. They're just so much faster than them. I mean, they might even get them before the straightaway. Look at the speed just coming up on these drivers. I don't know, Sam. I'm not sure what they were thinking by not pitting. I mean, these drivers are there now, so they can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can save fuel, but you have to also be in the mindset of, hey, we also need that other group to maybe slow down. But everyone trying their best to march their way forward. But Shane Terrian, Trent Jump, Zach Hall, and the rest of the crew, they're here. They're rocket ships blasting on the middle lane. Lap car is going to stay high, and Shane Terrian takes the lead with 11 laps to go. The race is no longer about can Lucky Duck save the fuel. It's about who will outrace the others, as we've got a cluster of around 12 drivers on the lead lap in this pack, and it's go time on who's going to win here tonight.
Shane Terrian drives right to the front like we expected, all that speed, but now the question is going to be, what does he do over these final 11 laps, and how much trust does he have in everyone behind him to make sure that he's able to get to this finish under power? But look at this move to the outside. These drivers are getting racing out as Brian P. Johnson jumping to the outside, but Trenton Jump continues to push the 9 machine of Shane Terrian.
As they continue to race on, 8 drivers on the lead pack, in the lead lap, that are in this lead pack at full song, pushing forward. And it's Shane Terrian, Trenton Jump, Zach Hall, Nick Crawford, Brian P. Johnson, Mike Tellier, Matt Meir, Vincent Sora, going to be your 8 drivers in the mix. Matthew Rodriguez got side drafted and held back. He's stuck with the Lucky Ducks drivers, so he'll just get to watch his teammates and Alliance teammates race for a win here tonight. 10 laps to go. We've seen the aggression when there were just 7 drivers racing for a stage win. We got 8. Here we go, Justin. 9 laps to go. 1 blinking driver in the mix, and it's Shane Terrian leading the charge for now.
The blinking drivers definitely got everyone's attention, but I tell you what, these drivers have just pulled off from that group that was saving fuel, so it shows that even with the extra cars up there, however they're running 80% throttle, they just aren't able to stay with this group. As you see, they're already almost outside the picture frame here on the back straightaway. So it's going to come down to these drivers right here on the left side of the screen to figure out who's going to win this race. And as we say that, Zach Hall is going to take the lead going down into turn 4.
Zach Hall, Nick Crawford, Brian B. Johnson outside of the league. They're all under the banner of Cat 5. In the league, it's Zach Hall and Nick Crawford, part of Snowy Desert Racing, trying to get themselves in a victory lane, as it's going to be the 32 of Hall leading the charge. 8 laps to go as they cross the line. And now it's the decision of where you want to go. Shane Terrian getting a little bit of upset being around Vincent Sora. He'll drop down low, trying to find his Alliance driver, Mike Tellier. Also, Shane's looking for any type of other teammates that might try to tag along with the group and drop low. We've seen drivers work as one, and maybe it might be a little bit of help from past leagues years ago. Shane Terrian, Trent Jump, also getting help from Tom Bourne. We're going to be seeing Alliance teammates from outside of the league try to work as one, as Zach Hall up front, but can he hold back the rest of the field?
He's got that outside line going. They're all up there with him, but that's going to leave the inside open if someone decides to make a move. But when will they? There's not that many cars up there. As you see right there, the 9 machine of Shane Terrian is going to go back down low, try to get back to that lead, but he's got to need some help behind him. He's got Trenton Jump pushing him, but not able to get to the lead yet.
Maybe just 1-2 more drivers if possible. Tom Bourne again, underpowered. He's been dealing with damage. He was caught up in that 3rd wreck of the night as he continues to try to fight forward. Vincent Sora continues to blink in and out of this race. 7 laps to go. and everyone's also trying to figure out where do you find yourself at the end of this race. Could and maybe it could happen, very likely, a late caution come out. This lead pack is not the only pack that's out on track. There's around 4 different groups and pods of drivers that are trying to mount up as much quick speed as they can. Here's the second pack being pushed by Richard Wolsifer and Matthew Rodriguez for 9th place. Matthew Rodriguez is frustrated on the fact that he was held back from Edward Schubert Jr. and Douglas Newbegin, who side drafted the 01, who wasn't able to be a part of this battle for the win. But he's being held by the limitless driver, the 56 of Richard Wolsifer and Justin. 5 laps soon to be left to go in tonight's race. And I know for the lead pack, they're looking for at least the white flag to make sure this race is official.
That'd be the big question. When do you make that move? Do you want to just wait to the last lap? You make it too soon and it doesn't work out and you start falling. That's the big question. Do you make it going into turn 3? Do you have enough time? I mean, and then the big other question for Zach Hall is going to be, when does he decide to move to the inside? Or does he want to stay up there the whole time? Does he feel confident enough being on that outside line that people will stay up there with him? It's going to be the big thing. It's hard being the leader, Sam, at these types of tracks. I mean, you got to be really good at blocking and anticipating the run, but you got to also hope that the guy behind you is going to go with you and not leave you hung out to dry.
I mean, you have Nightmare Racing. It's going to be Brian P. Johnson, Vincent Sora trying their best. It's Nightmare Fuel, excuse me. But trying to figure out how to get by the Snowy Desert Racing teammates of Zach Hall and Nick Crawford. It's going to be a 2-on-2 battle for this surge. But also, you got to look back for the drivers on 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. They were lingering, waiting, and it looks like it's time to pounce. Look out for the run. It's going to be Shane Terrian bouncing low with Trent jumping others as they're going to be trying to make the mount to take the lead with 4 laps to go. Can they find the speed to finally take the lead? They're now going to be side by side for second. Side by side for the lead. Shane Terrian trying to get back to the point, and he will do so with Trenton Jump. Tom Bourne lap car helping as well. They're now going to be the lead trio as they push back the Lexus Snowy Desert and others, but a little bit too much of a contact. Tom Bourne gets shuffled out, and that could hurt him. The outside lane's getting the run now into turn 3.
It's gonna, wow, well, the 06 is able to get back on track. I thought for a second there. Oh, they are. They're
they hold it. Hold it together. Tom Bourne still wiggling, drifting. They split the whole pack up. It's now down to just 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers still attached to the draft. And it's 4 that are truly connected.
Oh, but they're split apart, Sam. But there's enough cars out there that I think they're going to get a big run. And that Brian P. Johnson might get a big run with these now side by side in 97-32. Brian P. Johnson might get a run on these guys if he's got enough momentum behind, and that he might be able to time it perfectly if it works out that way. That he can use huge momentum and maybe slingshot to the outside. Is going to be really interesting if he gets a huge run down this back straightaway. You can see visually it looks like he's getting closer and closer. You just need someone behind him to be pushing him.
Heartbreak for some. Matthew Rodriguez is having troubles for the 01, but it's ultimately Nick Crawford who was a part of that Elite 8 that were up front, battling for a chance to win this race. Required damage, he's forced to pit road. It's our top 4 getting side by side. Brian P. Johnson still 7/10 back. He needs a little bit of help as they're coming across the line. 2 laps to go for Shane Terrian. Trent Jump, Zach Hall, Mike Tellier. As Zach Hall's being side drafted back, there's nowhere to really go. Few drivers having some incidences further on back, really slow with dealing with damage and also dealing with the fuel loss. But it's up to our top 4, maybe just our top 2, as Zach Hall is mounting a run if he can get a little bit of help. But it's that third group of drivers. Watch out for Brian P. Johnson, Matt Meir, and also Vincent Sora. They're going to have the surge coming up to just a lap and a half.
Well, they're going to have it, especially as now they get 2x2 in front. Where's Brian P. Johnson going to go? Is he going to go up high? It looks like he's going to go in that 3rd lane. Matt Meir, he's going to stay in the middle. Wow.
They block him. Loose. They hold him back. It's Zach Hall with the run as they're coming across the line. It's your white flag, sponsored by Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as they go down to turn number 1. Pick your lane. Hope it's for the best. Zach Hall, Brian P. Johnson. Zach gets dumped. Brian goes low. The 28 wants the win.
Oh, no, they're all pushing. This is it. The pusher's getting pushed by the person pushing behind. 9's into the 97. Wow, Zach Hall goes from the lead to the outside, going off here in turn 3 for the final time.
and it's going to be Matt Meir really putting the push. They're going to be so far ahead. Shane Terrian's got to look for a late run. Matt Meir trying to push the 28 high. A little bit of a bump. Wiggle, holds on. Brian P. Johnson, hoping to be a 3-time Daytona winner. Going to be Tellier to the outside. 3 wide, 4 wide, 3 wide. Contact, Tellier, cross the line. 97, Mike Tellier wins. Or does he? We're waiting for the indication, and it's Tellier.
Zach Hall second and Vincent Sora third. Wow, what a finish. I mean, Shane, I thought he was going to have a chance to win that race, and he just did not get a chance to go across that line. He was down there below the inside line, but Mike gets it done. What a win for Mike Teller.
The data was going back and forth for a quick moment. It looked like it was confused with everyone going into the grass for a second. Visually, we saw the 97 cross the line, and it's Mike Tellier. We talked about bad luck after bad luck after bad luck moment. Get your win. You're going to be finding yourself with a chance to fight for the playoffs.
Oh, he's going to be so excited. I can't wait to hear from him. Goes from the first driver out last night at Michigan to getting his win tonight. Congratulations to this driver. Cannot wait to hear him. Can't wait to see him just burn this car down right now.
Ooh, Mike Tellier, congratulations on the win. Hula Monkeys, Tim Horton's machine, embraced all the madness, but tonight it's the 97 that gets to burn it down. He pushed that 28 so far out, he lost the momentum, but goes high, goes low, finds where he needs to go, and Tellier grabs the win as he gets to burn it down. We step away. When we come back, we talk to our top 3, Mike Tellier, Zach Hall, Vincent Sora, and a spotlight driver. We'll be right back after this incredible race.
Back to see how that happened, or no, it's not sorry, not how that happened, but it just really was a stack up once again here, down into one. Everybody on top of each other. One driver gets in the back with another, a Bonomo, and then from there, Dumont's going to get hit from Jamie Horn. Is going to knock his front end off, and it just shows you Wilkesboro having these drivers giving them a tough time.
Very tough time, and somehow that wreck did not bring out a yellow flag. We are back to live coverage. Seeing Steven Manomo trying his best to just continue to stay inside of the top 15. As up front, the challenger and the challengee is Jonathan Jennings and Kevin Powell trying to pull away as far as they can. They see Mark Dumont right in front of them. Other close battles that are happening on track is the battle for 10th place, as well as on screen, seeing the battling between that of Michael Skimia and also Warman on top of one another.
Drivers hauled all over top of each other, and they know at any moment, if a caution flag flies, it's Tony Martin. Big drift off of 4. He locks it down and saves it. But sorry, he goes into the corner, and he's going to get into the 41 of Cork, I believe.
That's King.
Oh,
King
yes, King.
nowhere to go, and King once again an innocent victim, and he just is getting bullied for the last 4 races this season. And once again, losing major positions was the 92. And Tony Martin just looks like those tires are gone. Something's not right. He just cannot turn on the end center of the corner, and he's just going up to the wall every single corner he goes into.
Seems like his car very, very tight in the center, Sam, and then loose off. And what a lot of that condition happens is it pushes the front tires, and you got to put more left turn and crank on that wheel. And then when you try to get on the gas, it's almost like you got the brakes on sometimes with how tight it is.
Here tonight, Brandon Fetter place. Congratulations on 3rd, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
As we move from 3rd place, we head to our spotlight driver. Going to be 5th place finisher of Eric Warman. And Eric certainly had an evening for himself at times, had some great duels with some drivers here tonight, and ultimately will grab a top 5 finish. Eric, congratulations on 5th place. I know it's been a tough season at moments, but 5th place, how are you feeling coming away with that finish?
I'm just really pleased to finally got a top 5. Like I said, it's been a kind of a rough season for me, up and down, mostly down, it seems like. But hey, we're going to praise the Lord no matter what.
Definitely a great run there for you, Eric, man. Congrats on the first top 5 of the season. It was a race of, a lot of yellows and having to change strategy up. How did you stay on top of that all night?
I just kind of was trying to do the opposite of what everybody else was doing and being a little bit off sequence. It's just something I kind of normally do. Just try to take a little bit of advantage here and there.
I mean, it's been a fun season to see your speed, Eric. I know there's been a lot of tracks where you've been fast at. With tonight's finish of 5th place, how much confidence does that help you to carry over into next week at Charlotte, being the last race in the season?
I'm just gonna go in there and do our best, and whatever happens, we praise the Lord no matter what.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform next week. Eric, congratulations on 5th here tonight. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Well, first off, gonna thank the Lord for giving me this talent. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank you for the league. Daniel, Jonathan, Kevin, all those that run it. Thank you to the sponsors that come out and support this league. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks to my wife and kids for letting me do this. Got to get them in there.
Absolutely. Well, that will be the 31 machine of Eric Warman coming away with a 5th place finish here tonight. Congratulations, Eric. Enjoy this and good luck next week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, as we move away from our interviews,
Count this 20 out, he could very well be in the mix for the win by the end of this thing. He's had some great runs this season, but right now everybody's single filed out with that early single file start.
early troubles though, strikes in the back half of the field. The 27 of Christopher Simon falling down to 22nd position. Major damage for the 27 machine as he found himself Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the technical issues. So the post-race show is going to be a little bit different than what we've done before, but we still have all 4 drivers we want to talk to, and that will start off with our winner here tonight in the 97 machine. Tim Horton's machine in victory lane. Mike, it is Sam and Justin up in the booth. Congratulations on your win. Man, how are you feeling after that one?
I can't even just come to race. I got to qualify my way into these things. I'm not supposed to be here. This isn't where I'm supposed to finish.
Mike, but you finished here, man. That's so awesome. We were so happy for you. I mean, what were you thinking on that last lap? Like, what was going through your mind the whole time? Were you just thinking it was something bad was going to happen, or like how did you do it, man? Just tell us.
I've done many of super speedway races. Me and Matt Rodriguez ran super speedway leagues in Upredge, so I've got experience doing these things. So I didn't have a way to talk to Zach. I'm pretty sure it was Zach in front of me, and I was side drafting him back, trying to pull him back so we could get a big run on the last lap, and it worked out. Unfortunately, I kind of I shot Shane in the foot, who's like a sister team driver, but not really, but is, but not. Anyways, but yeah, I don't remember the last lap fully. I know Brian got in front of me and I started pushing him, and I knew it was just me and him, and I had to side draft him at a 4. And after that, I don't know how I'm first. I knew I had a chance, but they were coming so fast behind us that yeah, I got to look at the replay. Honestly, I got to look at the replay. How was the finish? Was it good?
It was incredible. It was incredible, Mike. It was so much fun to call. We are so proud of you. I know for yourself and for Matthew Rodriguez, it has been probably one of the toughest starts to a season we've seen a lot of teams deal with. But man, how does it feel knowing the bad luck that you had entering tonight and then coming away with the win here this evening?
Yeah, the motto was just not last. Hashtag not last. So we were literally just clawing to not be the bottom of the team point standings. Me and Matt both talked already quickly after the race. Like, he didn't even know I won. Like, this is so unexpected. Like, I knew I was up here. There was a plan to help Shane and Painty Boy Matt Muir, who did a great job on all these cars. So shout out to Matt Muir for this. Yeah, I did not expect to finish first. I was okay, top 5, top 10, where we kind of were, and that last little shuffle worked out to my advantage, I guess.
It certainly did. Congratulations, Mike, on this win, this victory. Now your ultimate goal is no longer just last. It's to try to get in the top 25 points, and then you're locked in to the playoffs. But Mike, before we let you go, floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, so Matt Rod and Hula Monkey, the guys at Sky Motorsports, they helped us out all night long. Trenton Jump, he was part of the group with Pit Strategy and was working with us. So shout out to Jumpy Boy, and Shumi, my boy Shumi, who's watching the race, cheering me on, and probably didn't expect me to be here in victory lane either. So here we are. This wins for you, buddy.
Well, the strategy worked out. Placing yourself in the right spot did as well. And your winner here tonight for the Meals on Wheels 250 is the 97 of Mike Tellier. Mike, enjoy this one. And good luck in 2 weeks when we come back here to Daytona for the Daytona Road Course.
Oh yeah, shit! I got to learn how to turn right. Thanks for the broadcast, guys. Have a good one.
See ya, Mike, as we go from victory lane down to second place to a driver that thought maybe it was in his grasp, but not the case. We gotta go to Zach Hall in the 32. Zach, I know you've also had a little glimpses of bad luck this season, but second place, how are you feeling after that type of run here tonight?
Thoroughly relieved for sure. To lead the white flag, I knew I was a sitting duck. I we lost. I lost Nick there, unfortunately, with him the motor expiring on him, and that kind of I think hurt my help. I knew I was kind of the lone man there, so I kind of had to make the moves when I could. And I saw that second pack coming. I saw Brian coming, and I was hoping maybe he would like repay the favor, for a few times push it to a win. But I understand he's got to go for it. It's completely understandable. So he went for it, got that lead, and I mean, from that point, I was just trying to hang on and just side draft whoever I could to get back to maybe a top 5, and saw them coming to the finish there, and I was like, man, they might wreck, and of course they did. So that was pretty nice, man. I pretty thoroughly excited with second. It was a wild night. Got to see someone get 360 no scope. That was a first, and I tell you, it was a wild night. That's for sure.
Well, this race definitely had a little bit of everything, Zach. Congratulations on finishing second. Daytona, always good to walk away, at least surviving Daytona. But next, 2 weeks, you're going to be back here at Daytona, but not on the oval so much. You're going to be on that inside road course. What are you thinking? How are you going to be handling that?
Excited for that one. Definitely, if you look at my stats and my history, road courses are my best track that you go to on the circuit, and we ran good at Long Beach, just unfortunately damaged the car on the first lap. So hopefully there's no walls that pop up and get me there at Daytona. I mean, of course, anything can happen. I mean, I don't think it's a chance I can fight for a win there. I don't know if I got the pace necessarily in these cars to really, without the tire fall off there. I think my kind of strength on the road courses of managing the tires, kind of letting the run come to me, it's not there anymore. So it's a little bit different in these cars. Don't have to learn, but definitely I'd say probably the track I've done my most laps in all of iRacing around when it comes to road course races. So definitely familiar with it, and I'm excited to see how the format with us, doing 2 races, kind of, a short race or a little bit longer race at the beginning, and then a short, reverse grid race to really spice things up. So that should make things interesting. But I tell you, I'm just happy to come out of here really with second. So good points tonight, and we'll continue to grow that gap to 16th. I think that's the big thing I want to focus on.
I mean, Zach, bringing it back to this race, yes, a good points night overall, but those first 20 laps, it just seemed like it was pandemonium and chaos at every moment. What was it like for yourself trying to just see this field maybe calm down at some point during this race?
Yeah, it was wild. These cars, man, they're very interesting here, especially Daytona, where it's not the widest racetrack. You have such big runs, and I figured from Atlanta, the way we raced, it would have been a little bit more clean, but you kind of had to be cutthroat there at the beginning. I mean, I made a few 3 wide passes at the beginning, kind of just because I knew I was going to get put 3 wide if I didn't. So it's kind of one of those things where I think people were trying to go for those bonus points, and sometimes I think they need to remember that there's only a couple bonus points given out. It's not anything that's going to change your life. So yeah, that first stage was definitely a little sloppy, and even I even feel like I made a move. I don't think it was like necessarily my fault, but I kind of messed up, I think, Danny Cochran. So I want to definitely say sorry to him, where I think he checked up when I made a move high, and he kind of got ran over from behind. And I felt terrible the whole race watching him have to run around with a damaged car. So I really feel bad for Danny there for that. But yeah, it's just really, I think, this car and this package right now, you get such big runs. Like when you're running behind someone, you're lifting constantly every single lap, just not to run them over. So it definitely made things wild. I'm sure a lot of people were going to be upset after the race because there was some pretty big wrecks there to start it off. But, that's sometimes how plate racing goes, unfortunately.
Well, Zach, an incredible run for yourself here tonight. Congratulations on second. And now the floor is yours for any more shout-outs.
Well, shout out to our sponsor, Meals on Wheels. That's an amazing fundraiser and, charity that Lucky Ducks. So I got to give a shout out to John Pill, too, for setting up the fundraiser and trying to raise money to help people out there in the country and stuff. It's really really cool to see what they do there at Lucky Duck. So John Pill, shout out to you, man, for helping us with that and sponsoring tonight's race, and then next and in 2 weeks when we come back to Daytona too. So if anybody's out there, make sure you go check down in the description. There they got their Tiltify link I put down in there, and you guys can go raise some money for some people out there to help them make sure they're fed. So that's definitely an important cause, I think, that a lot of people need to think about. So thank you to John for sponsoring tonight's race. Also, Trophy Smack for being an amazing sponsor for us always. They support us so much on our social media and stuff. So thank you to them. Make sure you go to trophysmack.com and check them out, guys. Shout out to my teammates. It was a wild night for us. A lot of chaos. Norris got in that big wreck there at the beginning. I think he might have unfortunately made a little mistake there. So I know he felt bad for that. So shout out to him. Hopefully he'll bounce back at the road course back at Daytona. But also you guys up in the booth for all you do, and also shout out to Caitlin out there watching for me, who watches every week for me. So definitely a good night, and thank you to everybody.
Well, that will be your second place finisher in the 32 of Zach Hall. Zach, congratulations on this run, and good luck in 2 weeks at the road course.
Thanks, guys.
As we move down from second place, Zach talking about someone 360 no scoping someone. Well, this is the driver that did it. It was the 51 of Vince Sora with computer issues, internet issues. One of the two came out with the netcode wreck. Vinny, even with your netcode blinks, you come away third. How are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
I feel pretty good because I usually have awful luck on a super speedway. I feel like I'm always like in the top 8 for the majority of the race, and at the end just never find myself in the right spot. And I kind of dread coming to these places. So tonight was a good, solid, kind of quiet run for me until I had the little blink or netcode or whatever happened. Felt awful for Tom and everyone else who got involved in that, because obviously there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing shows up on my end, but I think it's just the mix of the next-gen damage model and whatever happened there. But yeah, it still sucks. So sorry to everyone who got involved in that. But yeah, I mean, I had a pretty quiet night. Really probably didn't even see me up at the front that much. I just kind of hung around like 8th, I feel like, for most of it. And just kind of got lucky at the end with the guys wrecking. Unfortunately, no one wanted to help me tonight. It seemed like it could have been because of the one incident there with Tom, but I kept on getting hung out to dry. So on the last lap, I got hung again after giving Brian a big push to the lead. And I guess fortunately for me, everyone wrecked coming across the line.
Hey, Vincent, Justin up here in the booth. Congratulations on surviving, like you said, and having some good luck tonight versus, like you mentioned in the past, not being able to always have that finish that you want. But when we come back here in 2 weeks back to Daytona, you won't have to probably worry about hoping that you have someone help pushing you down the straightaways as much, because you'll be using that inside of this Daytona road course. So what are you feeling for the road course races? I know you definitely are a driver to watch on the road courses.
Yeah, I feel really good for Daytona Road. We did a little practice there probably about a month ago, and I think I was definitely top 2 quickest. So yeah, I'm sure I'll turn a few laps from here until then and not make the same mistake I've been making where I don't find the right time to put in enough practice. So yeah, I'm excited for Daytona Road course. I think I'll have good pace there, and I just need to keep on building points, and the points lead up to the top.
Well, Vinny, I can confirm, at least from our point of view, it looked like you were blinking from that point that Tom had contact with you. It felt like every lap or every other lap you were blinking. I think that might have been the reason why people were a little bit nervous working with you. But congratulations on this run. We talked on Monday how you were going to try to take that championship run and try to carry it over to the WSSR potentially. How are you feeling with this type of a run, trying to carry this forward into a championship?
I feel really good. I think it's probably definitely likely that I could go on a championship run here. I think in the past we've seen me have a lot of success at some of the tracks we're going to be going to soon. So yeah, I think maybe after a new PC is potentially in a shopping cart somewhere, I can have a little bit more confidence in saying that, because like you said, I think this has kind of been a common theme. My poor old PC just can't keep up with the new updates anymore, so I'm probably just gonna have to pull the plug on buying a new one. But after that, I can hopefully settle down and focus and get back in the zone and go for another title.
Oh, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform for the rest of the season. Congratulations on third place, Vinny, and good luck in 2 weeks.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too, as we move down to go talk to our 11th place finisher, going to be teammates of Mike Tellier. We bring in the 01 of Matthew Rodriguez and Matt Rod. You come away with an 11th place finish. I know for Mike, he was surprised on the win. Are you surprised on the fact that you were able to finish this race with being inside of the top 15? Because it's been a rough season for yourself and Mike.
It was a rough season. It was a rough start. I think I had been involved in every single accident, every single caution, with the exception of one because I was way back. By lap 10, lap 11, I had like 2 minutes of damage that I've just been kind of slogging through, and every time I'd get up there, just kind of shoot myself in the foot. But no, Mike had the power play. He realized everyone was really short on gas, so he decided, hey, let's make him scared. Let's push the envelope. So he did it. I can't believe it.
Matt, congratulations. I mean, you ran great. I know you probably didn't get the exact finish you wanted, being back there in 11th, I believe you ended up. But I mean, you slid laps and you were so
Man,
fast.
his driving's great.
It's
That's
driving
more than I could ask.
we loved it. I mean, we saw you mentioned how you were in the accident earlier in the race, and then all of a sudden around the halfway point, I think me and Sam up there, we were like, we didn't want to jinx it, so we didn't say your name. And then all of a sudden you drove to the lead and we're like, well, now we have to say your name. And we were pulling for you, man, because you're just a great, kind driver, and it was just awesome. But you mentioned you had the 2 minutes of damage. I want to ask you about that. So you got it all fixed, I'm assuming. With this recent damage model, we were talking up here earlier in the race, like, we were thinking maybe the damage was going to hurt people more. Did it seem to not matter, or was your damage maybe not so much on the front?
Honestly, my damage, the body panels weren't that much of a concern. The draft kind of kept me up in it, but the bigger concern was the engine. I was probably about 10, 20 RPM down, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but just it kills your momentum so much when you're trying to push, where when Mike hopped in front of me and he was in the lead, I just could not get to him to save my life. It was just constant. I'm hanging behind you. I'll get to you when I can. When the guys in the bottom could just make it lock up and push. Damage, just the engine damage and I think really the side skirt damage are the two things that just kill these cars.
Well, Matt, I mean, a solid race for yourself and the team as a whole. We heard Mike say that your guys' motto is don't finish last. Do you feel like that's still going to continue to be your guys' motto moving forward, or is there a different mindset that you guys have after a run like tonight?
I mean, it's easier. We can be a lot more bold because we have a trophy on our hands, but I think really just consistency is key. I'd say myself and Mike have struggled in consistency in the past couple weeks, be it from crashes, mistakes, or Mother Nature of all things. So we're just aiming for more consistency. Obviously, we know our super speedway package is there. Just got to get the short track and the normal speedway package down.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you go, Matt, the floor is now yours for any shout out.
Obviously, shout out to Mike. I'm so happy to see him win. He needed this. Same thing, Tim Hortons. Awesome coffee. Hula Monkey, Freaky Fast. Cannot wait to go back and watch this later. I'm sure you guys got some great angles of me dying. Honestly, and all the Sky guys, really. And I think there is some man, there is a lot of chatter going on in the octagon.
Oh, it always is, especially after a night like tonight.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that. But 100%. Thank you, guys.
Well, that will be your 11th place finisher. His best finish so far this season, and 11th for the 01 of Matthew Rodriguez. Congratulations on this run, Matt, and we hope for a better one these upcoming weeks.
Hopefully.
Hoping for it. Good luck, and have a fun one off on your week off.
Thank you.
As we move from our interviews here tonight, we get prepared, what I would usually say, of looking at our unofficial results. But because we've had technical issues, I gotta get a couple of deep breaths and get ready to do a 30-car rundown of where drivers finished. Because we're not actually in the session anymore, here is going to be your 38 drivers and where they finished. Coming away first, it's the 97 of Mike Tellier with your win here tonight. Second goes the Zach Hall. Third goes the Vincent Sora. Fourth, we find Trenton Jump. Matt Meir will finish 5th. 6th is Brian P. Johnson. 7th is Shane Tarian. 8th, we find Ken Campbell. 9th is Larry Yingling. 10th, we find Cedric Hunter. In 11th, it's the 01 of Matthew Rodriguez. 12th is Tyler Dangler with one of his better finishes as well. Carl Pooler going to finish in 13th. Tom Sinchek will finish 14th. 15th is Aaron Smith II. 16th is Christopher Wade. Andrew Medlin will come away 17th. 18th is Douglas Newbigging. 19th is Cody Reed. Then in 20th is Joshua Kanata. Edward Shore Jr. finishes in 21st. Richard Wolsifer in 22nd. In 23rd, it's the 6 machine of Brad Delf. 24th is the 06 of Tom Bourne. Chris Stitz will finish 27th. In 26th, it's Nick Crawford. 27th is the 4 of Justin Forbes. 28th is Danny Cochran. 29th is the 8 machine of Brian McCann. Ryan Kelly will finish 30th. 31st is Ali Fonseca. Bronson Stafford will finish 32nd. 33rd is Ryan Ferraro. Christopher Norris will finish 34th. 35th is Drew Jua. Dakota Moniz will finish in 36th. 37th is Ben Keeney, and finishing last of our 38 drivers is Shane Wyatt. All right, there's all of our 38 drivers so far. And finally, for our final thoughts of tonight's race, Justin, any final thoughts before we call it a night here this evening?
Well, it ended up being Daytona like we expected, just maybe not in the order that we thought it would happen. Kind of got so chaotic in the beginning that I was starting to think, is it going to settle down? But it did. Then we started talking about, will they make it on fuel? And then before you know it, we had the caution at lap 50, so it didn't matter anymore about the one pit stop at the end. And then we had the drama at the end with those guys saving fuel and not working out for them. But then that finish was just, it was great, but it was clean. That was the most important thing, is it ended up being clean right until the end. You didn't see anyone wrecking, and even when those guys wrecked right at the line, it's not like they lost 10, 15, 20 spots. You always hate to see that when someone's running third, fourth, coming out of turn 4, and then all of a sudden they end up third position.
Yeah, those 7 drivers all finish in 7th for themselves. I know Nick Crawford, like we heard from Zach, blowing his engine, highly unfortunate, finishing all the way down in 26th place with all that hard work. But for tonight, again, thank you to Meals on Wheels. Check down in the description for the Tiltify link if you'd like to donate and help such a great cause and to learn more about Meals on Wheels. And also want to say thank you to everyone that joined with us here tonight. I know we had a large crowd watching throughout this race for an incredible finish. The 97 of Mike Tellier found himself into victory lane. But for this evening, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Justin Malarkey, Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us. Sadly, we will have next week off, as all leagues that we cover have either finished their seasons or are taking a week off. But we will be back next week. It will be in 2 weeks, on Wednesday. WSSR is our lone surviving league so far. All the other ones have concluded. Most of those leagues will be back in August to be covering the ISRC as well as the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series on Monday and Thursday. Cannot wait to be seeing those more races, but we stay in Daytona. We'll be back in 2 weeks. It's the Daytona Road Course. Can't wait for it. We'll see you then for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.